All right, let's just get to it. This is the Unplanned Podcast, Episode 1. That name might not even stick. I thought about calling it the Impromptu Podcast also because I normally don't have any plans for these. Both of those mean unplanned, so I think that's fine. I'm George Trombley. I think you know who I am. This is the Polyglot George channel, and I have not been here for a long time. Simply because I'm more interested in the bigger channel, Japanese from Zero. I haven't really thought about this channel for a while. I think another big reason is because I've been doing, I stopped all of my language lessons because I felt like I wasn't making enough progress on Japanese from Zero Book 5. So I haven't been up here. I stopped French and Chinese and Korean. I haven't stopped Korean. I'm still doing Korean, but not through italki or a teacher. But the funny thing is, I still have made just the exact same amount of progress that I've made. This magic work ethic didn't appear the minute that I did that. Hello, Burnt Rolls. Michael. Thank you, by the way, Michael, for always posting updates. Not updates, but a nice contents summary with timestamps for every video that I've been doing. I really appreciate it. It's something that I certainly don't have the patience to do. Give me a second. I'm going to just make sure that I can read all of your names in the chat. Is the volume's low, huh? It should not be low, but I can ramp it up here. Here you go. The sound is now getting into the red zone. You might want to just check your volume. I have a really good sound system now, so it shouldn't be low. Let me go ahead and up it here too. Let me bring it down a little bit here. Bring it down, bring it down, bring it down. All right, there we go. Apparently, I'm not supposed to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. Well, anyway, as I'm saying, this is the Unplanned Podcast. I don't know if you know this, but I have started another podcast that is not language related. It's called The Mark and George Show, and that is on its own YouTube channel called Mark and George Show. It's with a man named Mark, obviously, and me, George. He lives in the Netherlands, and we both talk about a weird, passionate amount of some weird things. Just go check it out. It should be pretty fun. It's about a 90-minute show. We've only got 4 episodes so far, but that's kind of made me think that I want to have something where I can just talk by myself and not. The problem with every video that I ever make is that because it's on Japanese from Zero, it has to be Japanese related, and if it's on Polyglot George, I've tended to try to make it more about language. But you know what? Why don't I have something where I can just talk randomly? And I actually thought that I should maybe even jump into the Discord and see if there's things that you guys want to talk about, because why not? We can actually all join together and talk on the Discord as we have done in the past. Hopefully not any one person will dominate the Discord. So the Discord that I'm going to be going into will not be Japanese from Zero Discord. It would be the Polyglot George Discord, which I think I have the link that I'm going to send to you right now in the stream here on YouTube. Let's see, Polyglot George Discord. All right, that should be it. I'm going to go ahead and click it myself and see what happens. That is it. All right, cool. So if you click that, you can get put into the Polyglot George Discord, which I'm going into myself right now. I just now saw the rules for this Discord. I've never seen it. It says, "Hello and welcome. This is George's Discord for his personal YouTube channel, Polyglot George. There are no rules beyond don't be a jerk and posting any illegal or NSFW, e.g. piracy or nudes, etc. Will result in a permanent." Oh, I see. There are no rules beyond don't be a jerk and posting of any illegal or not safe for work things. This English needs to be fixed. Will result in a permanent ban. Please ping at admin for any concerns or questions. Nice. Okay. Well, I'm going to head into the general voice channel If you join the general voice channel, you will be listened to by anyone here. And this will be, you agree that if you join in here, your voice is being recorded and it will be on YouTube permanently and I will not remove it. And I say that because my Korean teacher, Nyota, does not want her videos on YouTube anymore, even though I specifically told her that's what I was doing, was I was recording them. If you guys want to jump into the general voice chat, I'm not in there yet, but I will be. Please don't wait for me to be in there. If you'd like to talk, go in there. First come, first serve, honestly. And please make sure that you don't have like a fire alarm in the background making beeping sounds, or you're not watching a loud TV show, because I don't want to have a lot. If your sound is distracting, I'm going to definitely mute you. All right. Well, there's no one in there yet, so we're not gonna focus on that. Just gonna go back to the chat room here. I did want to talk about one thing. Let me just open up this first topic. So today on the Mark and George show, there was a moment where sex robots came up, and hang on. I've been meaning to cut my eyebrows. I thought maybe a big hair was sticking up. There was a question about sex robots that came up. Not a question. I wanted to talk about sex robots. And in a few shows back on the Mark and George show, the topic came up. And Mark seemed to generally not want to talk about that sort of thing. But I had a whole different angle on it. And the angle that I had on it is actually pretty interesting, I thought. And I'm going to expound a little bit on it right now. There is a company in Japan. There's a volunteer nonprofit, I believe it's a nonprofit organization called White Hands. And what they do is something that I find extremely compassionate. And what they do is people that are immobilized or handicapped or have no mobility, they have a service called ejaculation service. And now that sounds crazy, but if you think about it, it's extremely compassionate, because whether you're a man or a woman, if you have no access to touch parts of your body, that's going to be something that's going to be pretty traumatizing, especially if you got paralyzed later in life and you know the feeling of getting that. And so what they'll do is a medical sex worker will go around and ejaculate them. And I thought that was super compassionate. And not only do they do it in Japan, but they do it in Taiwan. And I even found a place in the Netherlands that does it, which was fascinating. I just found it out now because that's where Mark is from. So I guess he might be a little bit shocked about that. But he did. I do want to say, even though in the episode number 4, Mark got pretty vocal about not wanting to talk about those type of things, he did call back after the show and say, hey, you know what? I feel like I need to not be so heavy-handed, and if that topic comes up, I should just be able to address it. And I thought that was pretty nice. No, you cannot post nudes in the JFZ channel, James. For those of you that don't know, JFZ is Japanese from Zero channel. That is a safe place to learn Japanese. You're not supposed to be posting nudes in there. Well, I'm overwhelmed by the amount of people that are in the voice room right now on Polyglot George. I'm going to click it right now. Oh my God, it's only me. I'm pretty popular. I mean, there is only 21 people watching. I'm not sure what I expected from this random podcast that I've never done before on a channel that I rarely have posted on. So, great. I'm going to be in the general room. See if anyone's saying anything interesting. God bless you, Michael Burnt Rolls, for always posting videos properly in the channels. It's pretty nice of you. That's honestly very helpful. Stephen Jacob says, if they're paralyzed, how do they feel it? I think maybe I'm misrepresenting it. I don't know if they have, I think it's like diseases like cerebral palsy, diseases where they don't have control over their body, where they're, and I apologize for making this motion, but it's like where they don't have control. Not to make a joke, but you would think like this hand gesture would be okay. They could just move it down further. I'm sorry. Pull back from that one. I apologize. But yeah, I can see what you're saying. I don't know. I don't know if you're paralyzed, does that mean you don't have feeling, or does it mean you can't move? There's probably different versions. I swear I just heard a werewolf. My window's open. Did you guys hear that werewolf outside? Very scary. Benjamin says, I would join, but it's not even 6 a.m. and my girlfriend is sleeping next to me. Your girlfriend sleeping next to you? You have a girlfriend. She's next to you. All right, Benjamin. Oh, I see Big Perm 586 has joined the chat. Do you want to say anything, Big Perm? Was that a no?
Hello.
Oh, it was a hello. Okay, I see. Are you doing push to talk, maybe?
Yeah, I think I'm doing push to talk.
Oh, okay, great. Where are you located?
Louisiana.
Louisiana. Nice. I don't think I've ever been to Louisiana. Anything big happening in your life? No one knows who you are, so.
Me and my wife are trying to build a house.
You're trying to build a house like by yourselves or by spending money to build it?
We're trying to design it and then find a contractor to build it for us.
Oh, wow. So do you have the land already?
Yeah, we do.
Oh, nice. How many acres?
We own 1.675 acres, and my mother-in-law and father-in-law own 40.
Are they back to back?
Yeah, we bought within the 40 acres.
Oh, nice. Oh, you bought from them, I guess.
Yeah, they sold it to us for the same price they bought it for in 1980.
Oh, wow. That's a good deal. And do they have a house on the land also?
Yes, we have a house. We live in a trailer. We're going to build a house, and we have a pond and a gun range.
A gunnery? What's a gunnery?
Gun range.
Oh, gun range. I thought you said gunnery. So what do you shoot? I'm sorry, what do you shoot?
All kind of weapons.
I shot a gun for the first time in October on my birthday. I think it was a 9mm Glock. And I was surprised at how much kickback even a small gun like that has. I had never shot a gun, so I wasn't aware of how much kickback a gun actually has.
They can kick pretty good. Get you a shotgun. That's the best.
A shotgun? Yeah. You know, for my birthday, my friend Clark, he was saying that he got me a present. And I said, you got me a present? And I was trying to think, like, what would he have got me? And there was only two things I could imagine he would have gotten me. And one of them was a gun, which I thought would be super inappropriate. But he played me pretty good. He said, you guessed it, man. And he showed me a picture of an AK-47. Or no, it was not an AK-47. It was a AR-15, I think. He showed me a picture of the AR-15, which is I think it's a semi-automatic assault rifle, if I'm correct. And he said, yeah, I got you this. And he showed it to me. And I was like, oh, and I was like, Clark, man, what, why would you do that? And he said, look, man, it's going to be okay. Don't worry about it. Just be there tomorrow at the range so we can get you registered at the range. Oh, man. And all night I was like completely like sweating that I'm going to have to I don't have like a gun locker. I don't have interest in owning guns. I've never shot a gun. I had already shot it once, the 9mm, but I really wasn't exactly interested in guns. And I thought for sure when I got there in the morning, he was going to be giving me a gun. So I get there in the morning and we go out. He goes, hey, come on over to the car. Let me just show you the gun. And he opens up the trunk and he goes, oh man, I forgot to get home. We're going to have to go inside. We're going to have to go get in my car. We'll just head on over to my apartment. He says, hey, but I got you a card. Just read the card first at least. And I read the card and it was basically a gift certificate to a massage place. And that's where we ended up going. He was totally tricking me the entire time. I was a little bit relieved, I got to be honest with you. I bet you would have liked to get a nice new gun, though.
Yeah, well, I'm kind of banned from buying any more guns right now.
Have you bought too many?
According to my wife, I have.
Oh, your wife. So it's not like the state has recognized you as a possible terrorist threat?
Oh, no, not down here in Louisiana. No, almost everybody owns a gun.
All right. Yeah, I did kind of appreciate the whole Second Amendment issue. When I was down there shooting the gun, I thought it's really fun and it's really enjoyable to shoot a gun. And I had never done it until that point. So once I did it, I realized, it doesn't matter if you're trying to protect yourself or what. Just even shooting a gun was kind of fun. So it's a recreational thing. And I think at this point, it's too late. We can't get rid of guns in this country. We can't do what Australia did. I don't know if you're aware, but Australia, a few years back, they banned guns and they made everyone turn in their guns. Did you know about that?
Yeah, crime went up after they did that, and they're doing a Bible program in a lot of cities, in the bigger cities now.
Oh, a what program?
A buyback program. Like if you go and turn in your gun, they give you money.
Here in America, right?
Yeah.
I heard that's a pretty big scam too, where they'll bring in some sort of really cheap gun that doesn't even work, and they'll get a buyback on it, and then they'll just use that money to buy a better gun.
There was some news stories of that going around where a guy was scamming them like that.
Pretty interesting, right? You have a lot of courage to be here in this general channel. No one else has joined the general channel. Yes, Silt, I'm pouring a drink into a McDonald's cup. Listen, I went to McDonald's earlier and I had a Diet Coke and I had some leftover ice, and I just happened to have some oi ocha, which is the Japanese green tea, and I decided I like drinking from a straw instead of the bottle. I apologize. Silt says he can't join voice because his fire alarm is going off too loud. Oh my God.
I actually love your YouTube channel.
Which one?
Actually, I like all of them because I like your personality and how you are not fake like a lot of us people I see.
I've heard that before. I've heard that's actually the number one reason I hear why people like me, and I'm trying to figure out I wonder what I could do to be fake. But I wonder, and I wonder what I do that makes me look real too.
Because you're open and honest with who you are, and stuff like that. I mean, most people go in there like they want to talk about themselves. You talk more about you talk a lot about yourself, but you're real about it.
You mean when, for example, when I make a mistake or something like that I'm open about the mistake that I made, or my weaknesses? Like, I'm just trying to remember the times that I've felt generally open. Was, for example, one time I told some girl to fuck off. Some 14-year-old girl had insulted my Chinese, and I told her to fuck off, and then I realized I shouldn't have probably done that because she's just 14, and I made a whole video about it. Is it videos like that, or are there general things that I say in other videos? And I don't mean to put you on the spot. I know this is a weird thing. I'm just generally curious as to what people mean when they say that, because I'm the same way. I like it when people are real. That's why I've always been a big fan of Howard Stern, because he's pretty real in his broadcasts. Not that I'm trying to be Howard Stern. But
I watched the podcast earlier, and when you and Mark were going back and forth, that was real. That wasn't like stage drinking. That was real. He was really getting upset. Yeah. And I mean, it was just crazy. But I mean,
how did that come off? How did that come off? Because I haven't watched it since then. Did that come off as interesting, or was that just like cringy?
Honestly, it's better than reality TV, because I think reality TV is fake. And I mean, just people says genuinely coming into a conflict and like being adult about it and talking about it.
Yeah, and like I said, he called afterwards and he said, it was we actually kept talking after I clicked off the stream, and actually he turned the stream off on the No Agenda stream. And I was like, that was good, man. He's like, yeah, he said, it's the first 4 shows, we got to figure out what we're doing. And I was like, yeah, but I mean, I think that was good. I think I enjoyed that he let out like that. Because he'd never let out like that on me before. He talked about that he's not comfortable about it. He said, I think you're going to have to lead the way on topics like that. But I'm also the kind of guy that if I find someone has a weakness, I kind of like to prod it. I mean, I'm kind of an asshole in that sense, where I want to prod people into getting upset sometimes. So, but I just didn't think you would. The funny part about that is that's not what I was trying to do. I actually, I joked to him that I was going to talk about sex robots, but then I thought I was bringing it into a really compassionate statement about the ejaculation service. But I think the word ejaculation is what triggered him. He's trying to do this adult podcast, not adult in terms of sexual terms, but he's trying to be mature in his podcast, and maybe he feels like I'm bringing in a juvenile topic.
That's part of your personality, though. I mean, I watched you for a couple of years now. That's part of your personality. You're real about sexuality, and you're comfortable with what you like. And yeah, I mean, sometimes you can come off as a pervert, but can't we all?
That's I always do feel a little bit weird when and I actually haven't come to terms with this for myself, but I like Japanese because of the girls. I like Korean because of the girls, or Chinese because of the girls. It's something that I say commonly, and I do get some pushback sometimes from people that will actually think I'm a creep. But I just don't understand why that level of honesty is a problem. If I say, oh, I'm learning the language for the food, well, that's a lie, because I'm not really a big fan of fish, for example. And a lot of Japanese food is fish. And it's not like I'm ever like, oh man, I want to get Japanese tonight. Typically I'll say, I want ramen or I want curry, but I don't even really consider that Japanese food anymore. That's just noodles and Indian at this point, right? It's not Japanese food. But I'm not into the language for any other reason. I mean, if the girls weren't cute, I don't think I would be this into Korean, for example.
I was about to say that, because I've heard you say multiple times, I will learn a language if the women are sexy.
Now here's where I get weird about it. It's that French, which I didn't say it too strongly, but I didn't find them attractive at all. I actually I thought, curiosity wise, since I had started learning French, even on this channel, and you can watch those videos, I actually was getting into it, and I love my teacher. She's fantastic, and I want to keep learning. I just haven't had the time to do it. But when I went to Google Images and I looked up French women, I was like, not cute. But yet I kept being into the language, so I figured, okay, well, maybe it isn't really about that. It certainly is a part of it, but it's probably, when I forced myself to learn French, I guess I was still into it. So I don't know.
I mean, I get looked at kind of funny because I want to learn Japanese down here, and we have a big French culture down here. Oh,
that's right. You're near do you have like Louisiana. Am I thinking New Orleans?
Yes, you are. Correct.
I have been, wait. New Orleans is in Louisiana?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I've been. I've even been to Mardi Gras.
And in fact, Mardi Gras is coming up in March, the beginning of March.
Oh, wow. I mean, it was like 12 when I was, for a while I lived in Mississippi. Before I went to Japan, my father went ahead of me, and he was setting up the house, and I went to stay with my Uncle Hank in Mississippi, and man, were those kids ignorant. I mean, they would say, this is where I get this, it seems like I made up a joke, but they would literally say, you gonna learn Oriental?
I'm gonna learn, boy.
I'm sure one of them said, are you gonna learn ornamental? And I was no, I'm not.
That's a phrase down here. I'm gonna learn you, boy.
Oh, is that what they say?
Yeah. That's what the old people say to the young guys. I'm like, well, you can learn me all you want, but teach me something.
So the rest of America, right? When we hear like a Louisiana style accent or that kind of Southern drawl accent, we have this image. But I guess if we lived there, we would realize that there's just the same amount of different type of people with that accent. I guess you'd have to live there to realize that, though.
Well, I mean, in movies, we're not portrayed the smartest in the world. I mean, look at The Waterboy.
I have not watched The Waterboy.
Oh, but Adam Sandler? Come on, man.
I might have watched it. Adam Sandler is too cringy for me recently. I have one of his CDs, or I bought one of his comedy albums, and the other day it was playing randomly when I was going through on Shuffle, and man, is his stuff just not that good. It's cringy. Do you find him not cringy?
His comedy is, I don't know how to put it. It grows on you, it's selective. You know what I mean? Like, certain people will get the comedy, but you ever notice in all his movies, he has the same actors.
Yeah, it's all his friends, basically. There was the movie that I really liked with him, that I really bonded with, was called, I think it was called Fast Forward, where he has this device that lets him fast forward through parts of his life, and the device learns. So over time, if there's certain things that he's fast forwarded over, it'll automatically fast forward. And basically, not a little bit of a spoiler if might turn this off if you haven't watched the movie, but he fast forwards through a big part of his life, and basically he gets. Pardon me.
He wakes up fat. The movie's Click.
Oh, it's Click. That's right. That's right. It's called Click. Yeah, and he ends up basically on his deathbed, and I cried hardcore watching that. That was a really, really good movie. That's my favorite movie that he did. Oh,
What
look.
I don't understand in the movie is why he fast forward through that one court with his wife at night.
Well, I think it was they would have arguments, and well, the machine realized that once an argument starts, he wants to fast forward.
Well, no, like the machine learned, like if he fast forward a certain part, whenever that situation would come up again, it would fast forward to that situation.
Right, and are you saying there was a part where it shouldn't have fast forwarded?
The sex scene, when he fast forwarded to the sex scene, that was funny. I just could imagine doing that. Like,
oh, I have to watch it again. Maybe he wasn't having a good time. He was waiting to get past her part, maybe.
He was trying to get his project done, and she wanted him to go and have adult couple time, and he fast forwarded it. It was like less than a minute.
Oh, I noticed that Benjamino has stepped into the chat room here. Do you want to say anything, Benjamino? Benjamino?
Hey, man. Hey, can you hear me?
I can. You sound great.
Oh, thank you. How's it going?
Are you in Australia?
Oh, no, I'm British.
Oh, British. Ah, damn it. I hate when I make that mistake. You didn't speak it. Honestly, you didn't say enough for me to really figure it out. And the majority of people that I've met with an accent are from Australia, it seems.
I'm trying to speak relatively quietly because I don't want to wake my partner. But it's not really working out. I'm naturally loud, annoyingly. So,
are you? Are they next to you, or are you in the other room?
It's a studio apartment, so she's kind of next to me, regardless.
All right. The way you said partner, I wasn't sure if I should say she or he. And I think the minute I hear partner, I'm thinking, okay, it's probably, my business partner, which I always make sure the word business is there. His name is Justin, and he's a very thin, smart, and when I say smart, I don't mean intelligent looking, but thin. Do we say this in America? Or in English, smart body, a smart look. Anyway, he's got this thin kind of profile, and it just makes him look like he's gay. And when we're together, we just look like a gay couple. I'm like the aggressive gay, and he's like the woman gay. That's what it kind of looks like. I don't know. That probably wasn't very appropriate what I just said. So when we go to the restaurant, I think the number one thing we try to do is throw into the conversation that we're business partners, because I don't want to ever say this is my partner, business partner. That always.
It's mainly because I've been with her about 13 years.
Wow.
But we're not married. So when you say girlfriend, it's I don't know. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like people are like, oh, you've only been together, girlfriend, boyfriend. Well, we've actually been together quite a while.
Why have you not thought about marriage at this point?
I don't know who it's for, really. Who is it for?
Well, what does she not want to get married?
Don't do it. That piece of paper changes everything.
Does it? How does it?
My wife is the same person I dated, same person I married. I mean, she's just awesome. So I don't know.
I mean, I've been married 23 years. So it's a long time. I'm on my 24th year of marriage right now. I don't regret it, but are you scared that that paper will change something, Benjamin?
No, nothing like that. It's just because I don't think it would change anything, I think is the point. So it just feels like a waste of time and money.
It would change something. You'd call her your wife.
Yeah, I guess so.
Right.
But who's that for?
When you say my girlfriend, it seems like a temporary thing that could be broken up at any moment. But when you say my wife, it's like, oh shit, this guy's committed. I'm not trying to force you, by the way, because I'm not the kind of guy. Honestly, there's a thing that I always say, and it's probably shitty. And thank God my wife doesn't understand English, and hopefully my children aren't watching right now. But I say I don't let my marriage define who I am, because just because I'm a married man doesn't mean I'm not the same guy I was before I got married. I still have, I still want to talk to cute girls. Doesn't mean just because I'm married doesn't mean I'm not allowed to talk to women or I'm a different human being. I don't even wear a ring. That's the long story. I lost my ring very early on. And I think it started then. I said, the ring doesn't define the marriage, and the marriage doesn't define me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think it's just because the only person I'm concerned about proving that I'm committed to is her, and I've been with her for like 13 years. So
and she's okay with it.
Yeah. We both are. Yeah.
Right. And do you have any children?
I mean, no, nothing like that. I think maybe when we own a house together, maybe then we consider doing it, because God forbid, anything happens like a divorce. Or whatever.
Well,
maybe it's smart then.
Why don't you consider this? I don't know how the laws are in the UK, but in America, if you have a car accident and you're, for example, in the hospital, she actually has no rights. She has no rights to make any medical decisions for you, and that might be at least you should maybe have some sort of a document set up that says, hey, she's allowed to come in the room and make these kind of decisions for me.
Yeah, I think I'm interested in the practical benefits, but if the benefit is basically just kind of like, it's proof of your love, then I'm not really interested. But yeah, practical benefits would be pretty cool. But I need to look into that, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, in America, there's actually tax benefits. It's actually beneficial to be married. I noticed other people have jumped into the room. We have Konna AWK, I'm not sure how to pronounce that, and Over Affectionate Murph. You guys want to say hi? They both lit up at the same time, but nothing came out. Hey, Murph.
Hey.
How's it going?
So my name is a Xenoblade Chronicles reference. Good, how are you?
Your name is Xenoblade Chronicles reference?
Yep. It's the name of one of the monsters.
Do you have a shorter version of that? It's a little bit long.
Nope.
I'm not going to remember it.
Yeah, I thought the name of the monster was really funny, so
all right.
I kind of stole the name from my account.
What, can I just call you Murph? That's what I'm seeing is your name here.
Sure, that works.
All right, cool. Where are you from?
Well, I'm from Colorado. I'm calling from Japan.
Oh, wow. How's that going?
Pretty good. I've been here for over 2 years.
Wow.
You're pretty much the reason why I'm here.
Wow. Wow. What do you mean? You watched?
I studied.
Keep going.
Yeah, I started studying Japanese in America.
Mm-hmm.
I went to school there for 2 years, and then I decided to go to Japan to immerse myself in the culture and get better at Japanese.
Did you perhaps see me on a video say, if you have an opportunity to go to Japan, don't think about it, just do it? Is that what prompted you maybe? I say that a lot.
That sounds familiar. I've watched lots of your videos, so I've probably seen that.
Are you not sick of my voice yet?
No, dude, I listen to it all the time. I like listening to you, actually.
Aw. I get pretty sick of my own voice. Although I am my biggest fan, so I do watch a lot of my own videos.
You know, what's funny, I subscribed to this channel yesterday.
Oh, really? And I haven't been up here in a long time.
I didn't even think you were going to submit any more videos on this channel, so.
Yeah, well, so I hired a video editor, Mike, about 9 months ago, and we were hitting a lot of videos heavy on the channel then because I didn't know that was about the time that I decided not to do anything controversial on the Japanese from Zero channel. So I moved everything over to Polyglot George. But then I kind of realized I was neglecting Japanese from Zero, so I kind of switched back to doing videos there. And then I was doing the French lessons and the Chinese lessons, and everything was, we were doing all of those videos. So the Polyglot George channel was getting a lot of videos, but they're not getting watched a lot because I only have 4,000 subscribers. So I was kind of bummed out because the Japanese from Zero gets so many videos, so many views. So I stopped doing it, but now I kind of want a place where I can talk like with you guys. So that's what we're doing now. I'm glad you subscribed yesterday though.
Yeah, me too. This is a good channel to talk, I think. Maybe you can promote your Polyglot George on your Japanese from Zero channel.
I've done it before. I've done it. Typically I'll say something like if you like what I do here and you want to see a little bit more, you can go over to the Polyglot George channel. I think I've spent more time recently though promoting the Tissue Box channel. So this because that's
George.
Yes.
Can I ask you a question about the Polyglot channels?
Sure.
Well, this is for everybody, I guess. But who are some of your favorite YouTube polyglots that you're into?
I personally don't have any that I watch. I saw one girl, and I don't remember her name, because most of the polyglot channels that I've seen, it's too much of a brag fest, and I'm not interested in that. Even I honestly feel weird calling myself Polyglot George, because I don't know. What am I going to do? I've done a multilingual diary where I'm talking in Korean, Chinese, and Japanese and English. But it's like, to what end am I doing that? Who am I doing that for? You know, because the chances of someone being able to speak all 4 of those languages is rare. So why would I make a video? Why do people make videos saying, you know, and then they say all these languages, but to me, it's just like, wow, good job. I mean, you're impressive, but what are you doing that for? I don't understand. So for me, I'll let other people join in on that discussion. But the only time I've ever been impressed was where a girl actually spoke Japanese well, and actually spoke Korean well, and actually spoke Chinese well. I don't remember who she was. She was fairly young. And actually, there was a girl that I talked to a long time ago. Her name was like Pink Rabbit or Pink Bunny or something like that. And she was on one of the Japanese dailies doing a self-introduction. And I thought she was amazing. She was like 12 or 14 or something. And I thought, that girl's going places. But yeah, I'm not into the polyglot channels. That's why it's weird that I have one. How about you other guys?
Do you know Bilingaru? She's not a polyglot.
I've heard the name.
She can speak Japanese and English very, very well.
Mm-hmm.
She's a native speaker in both languages. So.
All right. So she's like a half.
I watch her videos on learning English to learn Japanese.
I feel like I've seen her before. Does that name sounds familiar? How about you, Benjamin?
Yeah, she's
I imagine
gotten pretty big on YouTube.
Sorry, I imagine, Benjamin, since you said it, there's probably someone that you're into and you wanted to mention.
Yeah, like I get when I was saying polyglots, because I agree with you about these channels, that because a lot of the times you see these channels where, you know, they say like me speaking 15 languages, and then it'll literally be like konnichiwa, hajimemashite, yoroshiku onegaishimasu, nihongo hanaseru. But this one guy called Steve Kaufman, I follow a lot, and he's big on the input theory, you know, Steve Krashen. So his channels,
does he have a video? Does he have a video that showed up recently? It was in my suggested for so long. It was like learning language acquisition is all input. Does that sound familiar from him?
Probably. That's his message, definitely. Yeah. So he's
you know my stance on that.
Theory.
You know my stance on that.
I know that you're a proponent of the input theory to a degree, but you like speaking as much as possible.
Input's
as well.
Definitely important, but output is uber important, because I mean, I can give I can give a million examples in life. Actually, I hate when people do that. I can give at least 2 or 3 great examples in life where there's things that you've done input on your entire life that you cannot do until you start doing it. Driving, you've watched your parents drive their entire life. Your sister learned to drive. You watched her learn to drive. Doesn't mean you know how to drive until you start driving. And I've seen Matt versus Japan, where he has a very eloquent video where he talks about input, and he says how language learning is different according to this linguist and that linguist. And I'm like, you know what? I studied Korean. I studied Japanese, and and input obviously helps. Without input, how can you replicate how can you get the right accent? How can you replicate? Obviously. But it's not like input equals output. There's a lot more happening when you're outputting. When you're outputting, you have to be able to listen, process, then come up with a response to what you want to say, and all those muscles need to move. And in everyone, if you just talk to people that learn a language, the first time they speak it, it's totally different from what they thought. It's like singing. Can you learn to sing without singing? You cannot. Can you learn to write without writing? You cannot. And I disagree with what the only video I've really saw on this was Matt versus Japan. Even though Matt's a genius orator. He can speak really well. He writes his stuff amazingly well, and then he speaks it. And even I was like, oh my God, Remembering the Kanji is the greatest book on earth. Like, even though I wrote my own kanji book, I'm like, I should buy, and I bought Remembering the Kanji because his video was so well done that I bought those books. And I looked at them and I never went through them, but that doesn't mean they're not good. My point just being that I think his video is well made, but I completely disagree with him because I think everyone that he interviewed so far on his channel is they've all said, I did this first. I did the output first. I did this. I did that. They literally have done all the things and now they're good. And they're attributing it to the last step in the process. Until I did AJAT, which is the equivalent of listening to a lot of Japanese and pulling sentences from those sources. Until they did that, they didn't get good. I call bullshit. I say all of the steps ahead of that are uber important. It's that last step is not the final step. You know, when you learn to drive, what do? You learn the regulations. You go through a bunch of training, and then you start driving. That's the last step, right? So.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think the genius of, like, because I've not followed the AJAT thing, so all I know is the title. To be honest with you,
it's called MIA now. For the record, I don't want to misrepresent
it. It
MIA? It's
missing in action.
That's what I always think. It's massive immersion approach.
There you go.
I give Matt a lot of kudos because I had even suggested that AJAT was a bad name because that for a methodology it should work for all languages, and he changed it. And then I'm not saying he changed it because I said it, but he took whatever criticism he took from places. The other thing was he was saying you should go through the entire Remembering the Kanji book and learn all of the kanji, get it out of the way, and then start more language learning. But there was another guy, Nuke Marine, who was a big advocate of just learn the 555 most commonly used kanji, which I thought was absolutely a good approach. I would support that more than I would support learning all 2,500, whatever is the recommended amount. And Matt changed that. He also caved in on that point. I think Matt has a lot of balls and integrity to change something that he was pushing so hard. And he's willing to say, hey, even I realized that I was pushing in the wrong direction. Because the problem with that whole AJAT, which is all Japanese all the time, for those of you that don't know, I hate bringing this topic up because it stresses me out. But the whole problem with the AJAT was that it was the people that did it felt that this was the end all be all only way to do it. Every other method was shit and not and even I was called the traditional way. The traditional way that you learn. Since when was I was insulted because since when is it traditional that someone writes a book series in a way that makes sense and then follows it up with videos for every single lesson for free on YouTube and has easy access to talk to that author? Can you go talk to the author of Remembering the Kanji? Can you go talk to the author of any language book for that matter? Who can you do that with? I don't know. I'm sure they exist, but it's not, certainly not a traditional method. So the whole thing that the whole idea that that other methods are invalidated because AJAT's the way to go is what made it feel more like a religion to me. And it made me, because I was supporting Matt for a while, and I was supporting Matt and Nuke Marine, and I would get notifications from them when things happened, and I would go into the Discord room, and I would just see people, being so fanatic about it. And I was like, I can't, and it would just trigger me, and it would make me make a video on it again and again and again. I said, you know what? I'm done. So I dropped out of both of those communities, honestly.
I think the main, and I'm conscious that I'm talking a lot, so I promise I'll stop now.
No, I talked more than you, and your voice sounds nice. So go on.
I'm worried. I don't want to take over. That's all. But so basically, I think the main thing with language learning is that whatever gets the student to spend time with the language every day, that is the method that will work. Eventually, you have to do input and output. But if you're not doing it every day, if you're not consistent, you won't, whether you're doing AJAT or whatever method, whatever gets the student to engage. Now, for me, doing Remembering the Kanji from the beginning without speaking or understanding Japanese, that's not for me. I wouldn't stick it every day and I'd fail. No matter how efficient it is, I'd fail. So maybe AJAT helps people like that. It gets them motivated. I don't know.
The part of the conclusion I came to, and it's funny because even Matt, I think, was agreeing to me on this point, was that, and by the way, I want to point out, he's not the inventor of the AJAT program. It was another guy, Quasimodo. I don't know his real name. Quasimodo.
It's just the input hypothesis. I don't think it's anything unique, that method.
That's what I've consistently said, is that what is AJAT? It's just a way to go hardcore in the language once you've gotten to a certain point. That's the thing that bothered me. That's like, I'm sure there's probably a time where I've said the From Zero method, but I never have said my method is a method. No, I'm just teaching you the basics, and we're going through the basics and we're building progressively on it. It's not a method. It's just a thing that you do to learn a language. If you're not doing the things that AJAT says, which is getting a lot of input and shadowing and all of that stuff. If you're not doing that, you're probably not going to ever get good at the language anyway. That's just a normal standard thing that you do. Giving it a name is like, you know that book, Chinesey? Have you seen that?
No, I've not seen that.
So there's a kanji teaching book, a Chinese character teaching book called Chinesey. And they did a TED Talk, which really triggered me. So they're like, we have come up with a way that shows you that learning characters in Chinese is really easy. For example, look at this character. This is tree. Now, add a second tree and we have woods. Add a third tree and we have forest. Lady, that is just exactly how kanji was designed. That is not a revolutionary thing that you did that deserves a TED Talk. That's literally how you teach kanji. Everybody does that. And they made it look like they'd come up with this impressive system. And
that's just.
Have you seen that?
Yeah.
Hey Jack.
That's literally just hey, what's up? That's just literally describing history. It's like you can't ascribe some kind of purpose when the kanji were like first created. I mean, that they've just utilized what they thought was the best way to represent.
Right, and it's also misleading because, and I show this in the Kanji from Zero book more than once. I say, look at these two kanji. What do you get from this story? You know, you get nothing. And what do you get with this radical here? Why would this radical be used here? For no other reason than it's the same sound. And it matched the sound that they wanted. And so if you're trying to assign meaning to every kanji and give every kanji some sort of story, you're going to fail because it really, from my generic estimate, it's probably only 20% really work that way. The rest, you've got to do mind games to make those stories work.
I'm trying to think how I could design a story like some kind of what's mnemonics, I guess is the way to describe it.
Yeah.
Like let's take Gumbaru for example. Like how the hell would you ever like build a story?
Well, that's why
I'm giving an example of like
Well, that's why I've always felt that mnemonics are personal, even though I'm struggling hard right now to make Kanji from Zero have mnemonics because of the overwhelmingly people do like mnemonics. I love mnemonics, and it turns out the weirder they are, the better. Unfortunately,
right. I guess that the woman in question, the hypothetical woman you're talking about, would just be describing a very simplistic, very easy to understand, or a non-controversial or non-arbitrary form of mnemonics.
Well, she's definitely cherry picking,
key
to make her book look more attractive. And it's a genius marketing plan because most people don't realize that. So just even knowing, it would be like me showing a fundamental thing of Japanese that's fairly easy and straightforward, and then saying, and that's why Japanese from Zero is such an amazing book because of this methodology that we have. What do you mean? Your methodology is showing how Japanese works, So, hey, Konawak. You haven't said anything. Hey, I didn't mean to cut you out there. Where are you from?
I'm from Ohio.
Oh, Ohio. Sorry.
Ohio.
That was so bad. And what are you doing? What's happening in your life?
Not much, man.
That's a good answer.
That's all I got.
Well, George, you never asked me that.
Jack, I have a question primed up for you in just a second after I get a little bit more information on Konna.
I think I know what the question is. So, Konnak, please.
Yes. Nothing's happening at all, Konnak. What can I call you, Konna?
It's Konnak. It's another language. Just call me Grant.
What is that language?
Thai.
Oh, it's Thai. What does it mean? It means big penis. What? Why would you say that?
It's kind of like outsider or foreigner type.
Ah, Konnak. Okay. Sadikap. I don't know any Thai. I might have said the female version of it. I'm not even sure.
Can I throw something in about the kanji?
Sure.
From my experience, you just gotta read and read and read until the reading of the kanji naturally, and you can say it with confidence.
You know what I do in the what I've done in the book 4 and up Japanese from Zero series is something that I gotta say I'm proud that I've done, and I've never seen another book do it. It's called the kanji recognition section, where I say, look, from this point forward, these kanji, you just got to know how to read them. And it doesn't matter that you didn't learn them. Just like they're so commonly used. Just look at them here, take a moment to memorize, sight read it, and then move on. Because that's literally what happens. That's why I read so much kanji. Not because I sat down and wrote every single kanji. I learned all of the radicals. I learned every single reading. No, I typically learned a few words for that kanji, or organically learned that kanji in this. Like, for example, we were doing on the Japanese live analysis the other night, Moguru came up as which I, by the way, had never seen the kanji for Moguru, but then I started seeing, oh, it's part of all these words that are related to diving, because we were talking about how deep is the ocean. Now I have a composite understanding of the kanji Moguru based on that.
Right, and
I have a great.
so you learn the readings of the simple kanji, and then actually someone told me for the more complicated kanji, you look at the right side of the kanji, the right radical. Usually that determines the onyomi for that kanji.
Interesting.
So that's a useful little tip, and I found out it's actually pretty true.
It is.
So that, yeah.
But I kind of I'm gonna fluff you a little bit here, George.
You're
I
gonna
like
fluff
your
me?
way of
You
saying,
fluff me all the time, Jack. You're quite the kiss ass, and you know you are.
No, I'm not. Dude, I rag on you when I can.
I'm fucking with you. Go ahead.
All right. No, so that's definitely true more often than you might think it is, but I like George's method better of trying to utilize learning I hate to say compound kanji, but try to read the word as it's meant to be read, because you might find yourself trying to read a particular compound kanji utilizing all of the onyomi, and it just isn't the way that word is read. I like my example that was kind of building off of the point that was brought up is like, recently I learned the kanji man, and man is like, it's easy because it only has really that one reading. So mansoku, fuman.
You mean manzoku?
Manzoku. Okay, fine.
Satisfaction. Mm-hmm.
So fuman is not satisfying or whatever, and then mantan is actually has katakana on the other side of it. It just means like full tank of gas. I mean, that's kind of the way that I like to learn kanji words, is try to learn them as they are.
I don't know what other way there would be. I'm confused.
Well, I like the idea of saying, like, if you find a kanji you don't know, I guess it's kind of like, but it's similar to one in terms of like the right side of the right radical, then more often than you might think, the reading is going to be similar to that other kanji that you do know that has the same right side of the radical, but the left side is.
I think, though, unfortunately, and this is just my intuition kicking in, I could show many kanji that don't do that. I have a feeling I could.
That was my point.
So when I write something, in the book, I kind of have a process for, because the grammar that I write is, the grammar in all the books was, what do I think the grammar is? That's how we start it. So I write a grammar, and then I challenge my wife to break it, or I challenge Kanako to break it. So here's the grammar, break it. If it can't be broken, it's good grammar. If it can be broken, but only occasionally, then it's a grammar with exceptions. If it can always be broken, then it probably needs to be split into two types of grammar, where the broken one is a different grammar, and in the case where it's not broken, it's a separate grammar. And that's how I come up with grammar in the books. And that's how I come up also, I think, not to pat myself on the back, but I do think I come up with things that Kanako, who's the actual teacher, Kanako actually taught in college. She says, no book teaches the way you teach. No book gives this level of information. And that's normally, she'll say something like that. She'll say, no book's as kind as our book, because I know the mistake. I kind of know you're going to make the mistake that I might have made. And I know you're going to ask, from an English speaking mind, you're going to say that kind of mistake. So I don't like to give big rules unless they're very solid. And I would say the right, take the kanji instinct that I try to give people, where if kanji are together, they're going to be the Chinese reading. If they're with other hiragana, they're going to be the Japanese reading. That's kind of true, but it's just an instinct. It's not true enough. And I even pointed out a lot of times in video that this is not kunyomi, although it should be onyomi or whatnot. Anyway, I rambled a little bit.
I thought of one counterexample right as you were talking, is that so the kanji that's on furui, is furu the kunyomi and ko is the onyomi, or is
I believe so.
Okay.
A lot of times,
So-
here's another
No, you're right, yeah.
here's another thing.
I mean-
Here's another thing. Let me give you this. Chinese readings tend to be one syllable. They tend to be one syllable because Chinese readings themselves are normally one syllable. And if they're and I mean syllable in English, not like koi, not koi, but ko is two syllables in Japanese, but it's one in English. That's I would consider. In other words, they don't go koku or kotsu, where the sound changes dramatically. If the sound is,
Gotcha.
yeah, that's my current theory. Let's see if we can break it while you're talking. Go ahead.
No. I just was thinking, like, I'm trying to find a word, and I could go get my book right now if I wanted to.
Well,
But
fudu is
that's
definitely the
only-
Japanese reading.
Okay. So, but if you take the word furugia, like I've been reading a lot of Sato,
And there you go. That's 3 kanji in a row read.
and there's like one that has its own yomi and another that has its kunyomi. It's just the way that the word
Right.
works. So,
But no,
that's-
I would argue on that one because that one's furugi plus the ya, right? So the ya can be attached to anything. That's like attaching. So the attaching one is the one that is probably. Wait, ya can also be. It's not mise.
shitsu.
Is it?
Wait a
Shitsu?
minute.
No, I don't think it's shitsu. Is different.
It's a different kanji.
It's a different kanji.
Yeah, okay. But anyways,
I'm pretty sure no one's here to do analysis of Japanese though, and I actually think this topic is covered so much on the other channel that we should not go too too in depth.
that was just my point. Is that I try to look. If I learn a kanji, it's usually because I find that one is utilized a lot, like sai hakko, or
Well, ideally you should do what Nuke Marine was saying and learn the 555 or however many exactly there were of the most commonly used kanji.
mhm.
And if you're studying in an organic method, that's going to happen naturally anyway. And the way I used to always say that was, you learn when this is what I was to talk about is you listen to a podcast for something or something in Japanese that's full Japanese, and you hear this thing over and over again. It sticks out like a nail. Then you learn what that is. It's no longer a nail. Then the next thing starts sticking up, and you hear, what is that? They keep saying that one thing, and then that's over time. You start nailing down that box of understanding based on just going through the things that stick up in your head. Same with the kanji. Oh my God, I see this kanji everywhere. What is this kanji? You learn that kanji.
For me, it's more like whack-a-mole. Like the nails keep sticking.
That's exactly what it is. Whack-a-mole. There it is. Jack, one quick question. Why aren't you in
Sure,
Japan
I
right
know
now?
what it is. Oh, damn it. I knew it. See, that's the thing. Is I
No,
know
answer.
exactly what
Honestly, why the fuck are you not in Japan right now?
the question.
And I'm really
like,
upset if you're not in Japan. I'm generally
Dude, come on,
upset.
it's good over here.
いるんで
What?
まだコロラドにいるんです.
Why?
Colorado?
I know, weed, man. 420 blaze it.
That's not even a thing
That's
anymore.
good. I'm
Look,
from Colorado, so.
that's not even a thing anymore. You can smoke marijuana almost everywhere. I actually had my first joint October 29th on my birthday here in
I-
Vegas, so, and it was
That's
free.
where- I know.
Literally, they gave it to me free at the dispensary.
Here in Japan.
What?
Anyways, so
Quick, give me
I
the
thought
quick
a lot of-
answer because I don't care
I
as
thought
much
a
as
lot-
you think I do.
I thought a lot about it. I wasn't going to be going for a company that was a warm body company, and that's what I determined from the reviews of people who had worked there, the way that everything was structured, the business model. It just wasn't the model that I wanted to go for. I'm still pursuing other jobs, especially given my work experience that I'm continuously building on while I'm here. I'm looking for a job that's going to keep me there more long term. That's the short answer.
All right. How old are you now?
That's basically it. I'm 27.
Okay.
I have.
I'm not so mad at you right now because you're still pursuing it, so I'm okay with that.
No, I'm looking at other, like, my job is in sales right now. The more that I build and succeed at my job right now, the better chance I have once I actually get as good as I can with Japanese to be able to pursue a
Let me
job with a company that
throw this.
might allow me to be an English speaker, but also someone that can be beneficial.
Let me
based on
throw
my
this
language
this
ability.
piece of information your way. You won't like working for a Japanese company anyway, no matter which one you go for. So
Well, I mean, you don't know that.
I'm almost certain. I mean, yeah, you're right. You're
yes,
right.
I know there. I know there's.
This
the fear
it's just
of, like,
horrible.
the
It's just
work
a
hours and
horrible
whatnot.
work environment most of the time in Japanese companies.
But that's the thing is, like, I usually spend 8 to 9 hours a day, 2 of which are like driving to and from work, just getting back home, and then I usually have a drink when I get home. So maybe I
Sure,
would
but
like
you're
to,
driving and you're not dealing with dumbass politics of some guy that's only your boss because he's older than you.
That's exactly. Well, yes and no. So it's without going into too much detail. I mean, there's parallels that can be drawn with every work culture.
How about we don't draw any parallels and we say
business model might seem like the utopian model comparatively, but
which one is the utopian model?
German is 4 days a week. They only work like 6 hours. You know, some companies they only work like 6 hours.
Well, I would say the majority of working anywhere sucks because every company that I've ever interpreted at, which means I'm coming in as an insider and just all of a sudden I'm thrust into the work environment completely as is, you know, and seeing things that you wouldn't normally see unless you work there. I've never thought, wow, man, I would love to work here. They all seem like shit. It's just like you always have to deal with the person above you. And I don't know what there's some sort of dynamic with humans where either they become the boss and they become stupid, or we have no respect for the people above us and we don't understand the complexities of what they're dealing with. So we always think that the person above us is dumb. Because I've known people that were at one position in a company, got moved up, and now everyone hates them. They loved him when he was their friend, but the minute he's the boss, he's dumb and he doesn't know what he's talking about.
That might actually be one reason why, at least for this particular company that I'm working for, that's one reason I have stayed, that I didn't just jump face first at the opportunity, is because I do like the company that I work for. It's surprisingly, you knowing a little bit about my politics, I actually kind of like that it's a little bit of a good old boys club, and it's a very much like
I certainly don't remember. I certainly don't remember your politics, Jeff. Well, I think we talked a few months ago. I don't remember.
Well, I'm pretty liberal, so I think that old fashioned companies that are privately owned and everybody is like, you're either in the in group or you get cycled out somehow. Like I kind of like the way that my company does business in terms of like I don't have a single person in the company other than maybe our accounts payable person that I dislike. The only reason I dislike our accounts payable person is because she keeps blocking my orders because my customers have red tape to go through to pay for their bills. So I mean, but that's the only thing that other than that, every single person that I've met in my company, I've liked.
Good to hear that. Let me know when you go to Japan, then we can have a more interesting discussion.
Yeah. I don't think that I'd like to work for any company in Japan. That's kind of why I didn't just take the job.
I think my point being it's a rare opportunity to get an offer in Japan. It really is not a common opportunity. So when people hesitate to do it, I always think, well, you probably lost your chance to go, because you can always go and then change your situation while you're there. You can get there and then you can interview with other companies on the weekend or on your days off and probably find a better location and easily switch. I think most of the time if you're worth your weight as what you are, you could probably do that. That
thought certainly had crossed my mind. So
yeah. I still think half of your reason is that you are afraid to do it, but that's cool.
It's not that I'm afraid to do it. I don't want to get into a position. I still have to have a level of pragmatism when I.
What does pragmatism mean?
Pragmatic means looking at the end use cost as much as possible.
Is that what that means?
Absent any kind of emotional or illogical approach to this
dealing with things sensibly and realistically in a way that is based on practical rather than theoretical considerations. Interesting.
Yeah. Which that actually.
I hate to cut you guys off, but
hang on.
I gotta go.
Oh, hey, nice talking with you, Murph. I understand why.
Good luck, everybody. Gotta go to work.
Yep, have fun, man.
All right. Have a good day.
All right. Thanks, guys. See you.
Anyway, anyone else want to say some things? Because
can I throw in something real quick, George? Because I was watching one of Abroad in Japan's videos, like his learning Japanese in 6 months or something like that. Have you seen?
No, so, I don't watch his stuff. He's too good for me to watch.
I've seen that a while ago. I saw that. Yeah.
So one thing that really resonated with me is, learning the ability to describe what you're saying if you don't know the exact word that you want to utilize. And I wanted to get your take on that.
Oh, I've talked about this before. You get to a point where if you don't know the words, you can just talk around it. It's absolutely, first of all, that's not unique. That's literally how everyone gets good in a language. So for example, let's say, even in this conversation today, I couldn't remember a word in English and I talked around it. So that's exactly what, なんて言うんだっけ? 何々々する時の, and you do that. That's exactly what you do. And then the person says the word to you, and that happens a few times, and then eventually you remember, oh yeah, that one word, and then you replace that word with that.
Yeah, it's kind of like you say, like,
I think everyone knows what that means.
なんだっけ、紙や紙を切る道具
Right.
の名前は何ですか?
Right.
そういう言葉
And of course they're going to say machete.
ハサミ machete. Okay. I think you've been paying a little bit too little for your barbers. I think you might need to pay a little bit extra to get better service.
Machetes are the way to go though. I mean, it's one swoop and your hair is done. It's about speed for me.
What are you, a dinosaur hunter? Oh, so that's a little bit of probably other people know about Turok, maybe. You know, the old N64 game.
I do not.
That's what I immediately thought of. Some kind of like, you know, person living in the woods, cutting their hair with machetes and, you know, disinfecting their wounds with bears.
I just to comment on what you said about learning to talk around what you don't know. I was talking to my girlfriend about it earlier because she's not a language learner, but I can only speak Japanese and Italian, but mainly at intermediate levels. And I think the thing that I noticed is that I think for a lot of beginners, the goal should be to get to that early intermediate level, because at that level you can actually begin to enjoy the language. But I think a lot of beginners start off and their goal is to become fluent, and it's so far away that it can be discouraging. So.
I guess that's kind of where I'm at right now, is that I'm possibly on the cusp, just because I don't think my speaking ability is really there. But I feel like I'm on the cusp where I can start to say, okay, I don't know what this word is, but I feel like I could adequately describe what I mean.
Yeah, and you can enjoy. It.
Almost like Jeopardy. Alex Trebek asks you the definition of what he wants the answer to, and you say, "What is hasami? What is, obasan?"
Yeah, exactly. It just means that.
Haha no haha. What is that?
I think a lot of people just stay at that beginner stage for so long.
Well, a lot of people never believe they're anything but a beginner, and they think that they suck. And I did a walk and talk where I said, you've got to believe that you are in the inside group, that you are better than what you are. There's no way you can get better if you don't think that you're above a little bit where you are. You got to always be willing to fill those shoes that you set for yourself. By the way, I'm pretty sure in the very first video, and I thought I maybe had it in the book, I almost think I said when you learn nandeska, that's exactly how you want to immediately start using that to learn more Japanese. You always want to use Japanese to learn Japanese. And talking a little bit above that, when you know Japanese, you use that Japanese to learn Korean. You learn Korean to learn Chinese. You ladder it. There's something magical about using the language that you already know to learn the language.
One good method when I was first starting off is I watched your Eigo Egg channel loads, because that was super useful, because I felt like I was engaged with Japanese more than English. But of course, because I knew English, it gave me a leg up to really enjoy the language at the beginning stages. Like oftentimes when I share your channel, I always send them a link to Eigo Egg as well. Yeah,
I'll give you a little bit of a secret. One of the reasons I do Eigo Egg is not for Japanese people. It's because I really have a hard time speaking Japanese to Americans. It's such a weird thing for me. But if I can imagine I'm talking to Japanese people, then I can speak without thinking too much. But if I'm speaking to Americans, it's actually let's say top 10 things I hate
British,
to do.
Or British.
Yeah. No, I love British people. Are you kidding me? Honestly, London's one of my favorite cities. I went except there's one thing I was surprised about, and I know this is going to sound a little bit controversial, but when I was in England, I was like, oh my God, there are so many Muslims here. I was so shocked. And then you know what I immediately understood when I went to England or when I was in London? Now I know why they want to Brexit, because they have to take all of these immigrants and their whole country is shifting to be not, if you take in a few subset of people that are different cultures, that's fine. But when you take in more people than are actually the population of your country, you're fundamentally changing the country. And I remember just like everywhere I looked, there was hijabs. And I'm like, how is this even possible? I'm not anti-Muslim in any way, by the way. Not in any way. But I had this impression of of London being a Muslim city because they were everywhere. And every time I got an Uber, out of the 20 or so times that I got an Uber, only one man was an Englishman. Everyone was an immigrant. So it just really showed me that being part of the EU meant, because you can't deny immigration if you're part of the EU, if I remember correctly. Man,
London is kind of like whenever I visit London, it's like a different world though, man. Like London is like its own special case. But yeah, it's funny because just to bring it back to Japanese, whenever I speak to my Japanese friends and they come to London or England, they're like, yeah, I came to England because I wanted to learn English, real English or whatever that means. But they're always disappointed because in London, there's such a huge variety of people. You're not going to really hear, posh English accents.
I mean, I remember being super impressed in London, though, because I thought, wow, we always say in America, we're the melting pot, but I really did think, wow, London is a melting pot, because it's not just Muslims. I mean, there was people from everywhere, and they're running successful businesses, and I was really impressed. And I think even when I go to LA, I always think, there's too many different types of people here. I always think that, like, I can't even process how many different types of people there are in LA, because in Vegas we don't really have that. I want to go back to the one thing you were saying.
So that way in Colorado, like I have there's actually a pretty sizable group of Japanese people here in Colorado and Denver, but I had to find them. Like
I think that's the same with anywhere. You can't just randomly find a group of people without looking for them.
But like in a major city like London, like you don't have to go looking very hard.
Actually, I did have to go looking hard for. You know what I did in London? I went to Korean language meetups to finally meet some Korean people in London. Yeah. It was actually not that easy, believe it or not. You know what's funny is I was walking in the park the other day here. I live in a really beautiful area that has these really nice walking trails. And normally when I'm taking my walk at night, I'm talking to my friend on Kakao Talk, which is the Korean like Skype, I guess. And I'm talking Korean the whole time. And I'm talking Korean, and all of a sudden I hear Korean. It's like 6 a.m. I hear Korean, and these 3 old Korean ladies are walking by, and I'm like, 안녕하세요, and they're like, 안녕하세요, and they kept going, and I thought, why were they not surprised that a man randomly walking in the park was speaking Korean and then talked to them? Yeah, they weren't surprised at all. I did want to show this book though. This is actually, as you can see, I'm pretty good way through it. I'm like 130 pages in. I freaking love this book. I think it's the same appeal as Ego Egg because it's talking about a subject that I know really, really well, right? English is my jam. I know English. You know English. That's why when I talk about Ego Egg, you have massive context, like a ton of context. So I'm reading a book that teaches English, and what I'll do is instead of taking my phone into the bathroom, I've been taking this phone into the bathroom, and I just read it. I'll be like, 개수를 셀 수 없는, right? And I just read the whole thing out loud, and then I keep getting into it. I'll read like 3 or 4 pages alone in the bathroom. It's kind of sad, I guess. But it's amazing. I would highly recommend getting books that teach English and Japanese and going through those.
That kind of harkens back to the Ego Egg conversation where it's like working backwards, learning Japanese because something is geared towards teaching English.
And you know what I like about, this is not the first. I have tons of books that teach English. What I hate about books that teach Korean or teach Japanese is the sentences that they use are kind of stiff. They're not real. But these books, they're showing you the real Korean, and the English is stiff, right? The English is stiff, but that's what the Korean's doing. That's how I have to speak normally. So that's what I kind of really like about that.
That's one of my favorite things to do if I come across like a Japanese phrase or a construction that I'm not used to, is to just search for it in Japanese in Google and then put ego on the end. And you'll find like a whole bunch of forums of Japanese people who want to express it in English. It's great. It's such a good resource because you find such natural usage.
It's true. Yeah, if you just type the Japanese and what you think the English is too, a lot of times you get a really good answer. Or you put similar things in like, and you'll come up with something on like Yahoo Chiebukuro, which is really good. I think that's the number one that comes up for me when I'm looking for stuff. Another good thing I'll recommend is stop using Google sometimes. Bing and DuckDuckGoose is actually sometimes better at finding things because Google's too good. Google ends up showing you people teaching the language instead of showing it in real usage. Sometimes I just want to see, am I thinking the way that this is used in normal everyday speaking? So I'll type the one word or type the verb, and Google will be like, how to use this verb in Japanese. I'm like, no. I want to see people talking on a blog. Also, Twitter's good for that too, by the way. If you search for words in Twitter, it's going to be real things that people say, for the record.
I'm going to be honest. I fell into the beginner language learner trap of watching YouTube videos of how to learn this and how to learn that. And I didn't learn a thing.
Yeah. I think I railed. I deleted that video where I railed against how I learned Japanese. And it's like, you're not helping anybody because everyone learns it differently. Why don't you actually teach Japanese? Just let's stop theorizing about the best way to learn and these videos that are, 92 hours of sleeping with Japanese. They've already proven that doesn't work anyway. You don't learn while you're sleeping.
Well, the funny thing is, you just said that we all learn differently, but I actually think we all kind of learn the same, really. Like we were saying earlier about AJAT, you got to have the output. You need a bit of input. It's like, yeah, we all do that. Everybody does that. It's just about ensuring that you find it fun, I guess.
I think that point that you brought up about, I think it was you that said it, the number one thing is not letting people quit. And that's, believe it or not, that's the one thing that while I'm writing book 5 or any book is, if I think there's any frustration that this particular point brings up, we used to have a saying that was on the board in my office. I don't have the office anymore, but it said, don't punch the student. And that always is to remind me and whoever is co-writing a book with me that if we do something like teach something and then immediately give them a rule that breaks that rule and say, oh, and here's another thing that it does, and here's this one particular grammar can be used in 7 different ways, you're punching them. You need to teach in small chunks and get them to understand that and let that water go underneath the bridge. And then you can send another boat down and saying, hey, remember that thing we learned before? Here's another thing that they do with it. Then they can process it. But a lot of times books, especially foreigners teaching, I've seen this a lot, YouTube videos that are trying to teach, they give you all the ways that one thing's used in one fell swoop. That is the absolute worst way to learn. That's not how we should learn, in my humble opinion.
So, Ben, you agree with Krashen's theory that we all learn through comprehensible input?
I agree with that, yeah. Well, I think even if you start speaking straight away, at the beginning, you haven't got many words. So if you just meet someone, you're like, hajimemashite, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. When they talk back, most of what you're going to be doing is listening most of the time at the beginning until you end up like George, where you just talk all the time. I'm joking.
It's true. No, but it's absolutely true. My study of Korean now is completely just talking. And I finally have a friend that I can talk to pretty much all the time. So I'll call her up and we will talk for an hour and 30 minutes and I won't feel like we've said enough. We'll talk about religion, we'll talk about life, we'll talk about dreams, we'll talk about work, we'll talk about friends, family. And I'm there. I've arrived. In my mind, all I have to do is keep learning bigger, better things so I can say more things with a little bit more class. That's all I'm doing at this point. I've gotten to that point where I don't need a dictionary. I don't need someone that speaks English to be my friend. I think that's the goal. I agree with what you were saying earlier. Whoever said it, I don't exactly remember, but getting to that point where you can just have conversation. You might have heard me say, when you're speaking Japanese and you ask a question about Japanese in Japanese, that is the conversation. That is what you're talking about. That's not a step to get to conversation. That was the conversation. We talked about this particular thing. And that is what is fun in my mind.
And the thing is, I think you see so many of these programs that promise that if you do this program, you're going to get fluent in 6 months or whatever. The thing is, though, that early intermediate level where you can keep the conversation in Japanese, that is actually attainable in a relatively short amount of time.
I agree.
If you work at it.
I agree.
But I think a lot of the times people, they look at these levels. Like, are you guys familiar with the European Common Framework, A1, A2, B1, B2, C1,
why
C2?
have I heard this somewhere? I think Justin's been talking about this for somehow bringing our books into compliance with that.
Okay.
A lot of language learners, a lot of language. I'm sorry, a lot of language learners compare their level to the European framework. Like a lot of other languages don't have the framework like that, but the European does. And a lot of polyglots like to reference the European framework to distinguish your level in the language.
Exactly. So A1, A2 is the beginner bracket. B1, B2 is intermediate. And I think B1, that early intermediate stage, is where you really, really can enjoy the language. Obviously, you can't express yourself very well, but you can enjoy the language. And I think that's the main goal for beginners, is to get past that early stage where you're just doing kore wa inu or whatever. You know, once you get past that, then it's really, really fun. But a lot of people just stay there.
I think for me, there's a point in Japanese where when you get to this point, you're there. And that's when you can use a verb phrase to describe a noun. That's the first lesson, I think, of book 4. When you get there, you're at that stage where you like my friend who lives in Russia. That level of speaking is the absolute place you need to be, because without being able to take a scenario and use that scenario to describe something, you really can't have conversation, because then everything you say is direct. So when the moment you could say ロシアに住んでいる友達が blah blah blah, that means that all of the grammar that you used to describe your friend, you have to know that. And if you can do that, there's pretty much nothing you can't say. You can get around a lot with that. You know what I'm talking about, right? It's in English, it's the equivalent of when we say my friend blah blah blah, that we end it with that lives in Russia. The food that I ate yesterday, we use that and followed by once you can do that in a language, you because you can't do that without a certain level of understanding verbs and particles and whatnot in Japanese.
That was a huge revelation when I was learning Japanese, when I could finally get my head around Nihongo o benkyou shiteru hito blah blah blah. Takusan Nihongo o benkyou shiteru hito ga imasu or whatever.
Exactly.
That grammar was, I remember when it messed with, I just ignored it when I was first learning Japanese, until, like you said, once you've hammered all the other nails down, you've got clarity. You're able to see this stuff that you previously ignored. So yeah, I agree with you completely.
And the thing that I always I love to say, and it's completely true, once you understand something, you can't not understand it. You can't choose to not comprehend it. You can't turn off comprehension. And that's why if you keep studying and you're studying pragmatically, was that word so sensibly? Yeah, pragmatically, you're eventually going to get to a point where you can't not understand the words that you're hearing. Unless there's 2 or 3 things in a row that you don't understand, you're going to be filling in those holes.
See, I listen to a full native podcast while driving down the road, and understand. I'm stuck in the beginner stage. I'll be honest. I'm stuck in the beginner stage. But when I hear a word that I know, it pops out at me, and then I can understand that word, and then everything else is just.
Sorry, I just punched my mic. Apologize. Well, the thing about the native podcast that I really like is because I started doing that in Korean a couple years back, was that I fall into these pockets where I understand the entire conversation. Podcasts are hard because you can't see anything, so there's nothing guiding the comprehension, which I love so much, because you have to really have it's like landing an airplane. You're like, okay, we're getting ready to land. Okay, is there enough information? Once you land, all of a sudden you're on the runway and you understand everything for a brief moment, and the plane takes off again, and you might get lost when they change the topic. But those moments where you understand what's happening and you stop thinking about the language and you're just enjoying the content, that's the moment, I think that's why I actually really like doing the analysis videos, because I normally don't watch a lot of YouTube, but I really do love watching those videos. I sometimes watch the full video when I'm done too, just to get that deep ocean one, for example, is pretty fascinating if you want to keep watching that one. Do you know what I'm talking about? Anybody?
I haven't watched that one yet. Okay. But speaking of religion, I went searching for Koreans in my area, and I found a Korean church.
Oh, there's a ton of Korean churches. They're so you know that 33% of Koreans are Christian? They have the highest rate of religion in all of Asia, or Christianity in all of Asia.
But where I live at, that's I'm Yeah, I
Hello and welcome to Japanese.
Holy shit! Sorry. Just jumped to my channel for a second. I thought about going to one of those churches. There's one near me also. There's a ton of Korean churches in Vegas. I thought about going, but then I remember all the Koreans that I've met that are religious. They're so fake for me. I think actually anyone that's at church to me is like so fake. Like they're putting on a show so that God will see that they're kind or something. And they're just like, they're so big and they're like YouTubers. They're like, hey guys, how are you doing today? Oh, you look fantastic. What have you been working out? I was like, oh, shut up. You're not thinking those things.
Oh my God, did you hear about the bake sale? It was such a success. Oh, by the way, did you hear Tracy? She's such a bitch. Like, it's just, those are the kind of conversations you'd hear at church.
Oh, at church? Oh gosh, I don't, well, okay, then I guess they're not being fake at all.
No, they're being fake in their...
Wait, but then when Tracy, when
Tracy
comes up, they're like, "Oh, hey, Tracy, you look fantastic," right?
Well, but I mean, you by their own standard, you hold them to a different standard. By the way, I was talking for a little. I don't know if anybody could hear me or not. I think it might have been something with my computer or something.
I might have muted you. I'm just kidding. I didn't.
Yeah, you probably did.
No, I didn't.
No, I don't know. Something probably disconnected.
What were you saying?
No, I was just kind of chiming in like agreement to everything that everybody was.
Oh yeah, I heard those. I heard those little brief moments where you.
Oh, did you? You just ignored?
No, I didn't want to engage in the fear that it would be another long session. And also, frankly,
my lesson.
Benjamin has the best voice in this entire chat room, and I was
that is an absolute lie.
Are you kidding me? Listen to Benjamin, man.
No.
Everything he says has authority, man. He's got the Queen's English.
No.
Benjamin, you need to start your own podcast. I'm telling you, you honestly probably have a really good mic, or you're like right up on the phone because you sound great.
Thank you, George. You're making me blush, man. You're making me blush.
I would subscribe to your channel.
George, you're making me blush.
Oh my God, Jack, I want to talk to you more now. Keep going.
Oh, do you want to hear more of my dulcet tones as I speak to you?
Oh my gosh, you're so posh.
That's so good.
I don't think I'm gonna watch this video to hear my own voice.
Well,
but
Big Pun, your voice.
Now you have shown your hand, George, and now I shall have to destroy you.
Wait a minute, I think your accent got mixed up with Indian for a moment.
Oh, that was German.
Russian.
Sorry.
Oh, was it German?
Okay.
I shall have to destroy you now, Mr. Bond.
Yeah, German, not my favorite accent. I'm sorry, Melanie. I'm sorry, Melanie, if you're listening.
Damn it, and that's the next language I want to learn after Japanese.
Someone
actually asked me, like, oh, wait, you want to learn German after Japanese? Were you trying to, like, revive the Axis powers? It's like, no, because I don't want anything to do with Italian.
I said this the other day, and I don't regret saying it, but I feel bad that Melanie's a good friend of mine, but man, that German accent, I can't get into it. It's not, you could make Germans the cutest women on earth, and I don't think I would be like, I think the accent would throw me away. It would throw away my desire to
there's actually an Irish comedian that describes it best. Ben, do you know Dylan Moran?
Here, let me find it on YouTube.
I do.
Yeah, I agree. The German accent is very not sexy.
Dylan Moran's like, and the German accent is like really difficult to listen to. It's like a typewriter wrapped in tinfoil being pushed down the stairs.
What's it? How do you spell his name?
Dylan Moran. So Dylan, normal spelling, and Moran is
okay. First of all, is there a normal spelling for Dylan? I don't even know that name.
Dylan.
Oh, okay. Moran. I found him, and we'll look for Irish.
German or something like that.
Okay, German.
Even how you say "I love you" in German sounds not sexy.
The way he described it is.
Here we go.
A typewriter wrapped in tinfoil being pushed down the stairs.
This is Dylan Moran on Germany. I'm showing it on the stream.
And you never forget that shit. You know, it never goes. But this idea of the good life being elsewhere does possess people. And I suppose a lot of people now, because Europe is freed up and everything, people move within Germany. A lot of, within Europe, rather. I mean, I said Germany, but I meant Europe. I don't know why I said Germany. But loads of people did go to Germany, actually. Recently, for the World Cup. A lot of English people went over to make uninformed, prejudicial remarks about German people and Germany. Totally ignorant and bigoted. Know nothing about it, but they feel free to insult it. Because they're English and they're bigoted. And because Germany is a toilet.
That's pretty good. Well, he didn't talk about the accent yet. Let's see.
No, he's getting to it.
Oh, it's in this video?
It's in this video.
All right, here we go. Here's how I get copyright stricken right here. Let's keep going.
A truly dreadful place.
I like how he's smoking on stage. I don't like smoking, but that's pretty badass.
Nobody ever has any reason to go there. It is a totally dreadful place. And that's
not true. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Germany's great. I love Germany.
I actually love the German people, and they're so like pragmatic. I'm trying to use the word pragmatic. They're just really like down to earth, and there's no playing with them. They're just like
I'm intending to go to Munich in May of this year because my parents have moved to Switzerland, so taking the train.
Why'd they move to? I don't even want to know. Let's finish this.
We'll talk about it.
It is because if you're talking,
do we have to?
No.
I mean, I'm sure there's a million reasons why you're. Do they work at CERN?
No.
Okay. All right. Because that would be interesting.
Works for a company that's based in Switzerland. Is that a good enough explanation?
That's pretty good, Jack.
Thanks. Yoku dekimashita.
That
was such a fucking patronizing fucking way of saying it.
To, a modern... I went there. On the same weekend, I went to Australia and California. And it's a... You see, the thing is, you're talking to a modern, nice, affable German person, and they're saying to you something like, well, it's a critical time now for Germany within Europe, also globally. Economically, we're pretty good, we have been better, but we're very vibrant in the theatre and arts and so on. All the time you listen to this, you're thinking, Hitler.
I'm sorry. I should have.
That was the great... I love this guy. His demeanor is just
poor Germany, man. Like their history has this like huge like what's the word I'm looking for? Like flaw, Stain. There you go. That was the word. Yeah. What a huge stain to have. It's interesting that Japan doesn't have the same stain, and I think it's one of the reasons Korea really hates that Japan doesn't have it.
I think it was funny. You know John Oliver, right?
Yeah. I met him personally. We're friends.
Oh, really?
No.
Oh, cool.
No, we're not.
Okay. Well, cool. I'd be like, that's awesome. I'd believe
he hangs out. We've done a couple podcasts together.
Yeah. Well, he did a whole bit about how people were railing against Japan deciding to rearm to the point that they could defend their allies, and a bunch of people in Japan were making signs of Prime Minister Abe looking like Hitler, and he's like, who I really feel bad for? Tojo. It's like, what? You need a mustachioed World War II war criminal, and you went with Adolf? What do I have to do?
Tojo was definitely a war criminal.
I'm just saying, it's like, they could have used Tojo, but they used Hitler instead, and Tojo would have been like, oh, come on, guys, why didn't you use me?
Well, I think that's the typical thing that you do, right? Every president gets compared to Hitler. I think it's just a thing to do when you're trying to take over power. Tojo doesn't have that image because he was a military commander.
In Japan, though? I mean, this is Japanese people we're talking about that were protesting.
Exactly, but Japanese have not demonized Tojo the way that Hitler has been demonized.
That's a fair point. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going to demonize anybody, you should demonize Tojo, and you should demonize the emperor at the time, but the whole reason...
Let's start with both and work from there.
Well, the whole reason that Japan didn't get penalized was America, because the position... Again, I'm not too educated on this, but the Japan had the 731. Do you know about the Unit 731, where in China they were doing chemical warfare and all sorts of experiments on humans? It's completely a horrible thing that Japan did, but they didn't get punished for it. And the scientists that did that didn't get put on trial for it. They didn't have anything like they did at, I forget the name of the place where they did it.
That's a bit more acute than I think, which is the more overarching base, which is that we needed a base in Asia, and Japan was.
That's also part of it, but we also wanted the data from the experiments that the main scientists in the 731 Unit 731 did, and all of their notes were written in Japanese and they were written in code. So we needed to keep them alive, and so we are very complicit. The country of America is extremely complicit in Japan not getting its fair punishment for the war crimes that it committed. Anyway, back to the humor.
There's a Hitler when you did the Hitler thing with Hitler. And Hitler came out. Hitler. And the people look like pork. You can't get away from that. They do. They look like pork scratchings on a towel. And you can't eat the food because you would have to complain about it, and that would mean speaking German. It's a disgusting language. Nobody should ever speak it. Even Hitler was vegetarian. That's how bad the food is. And you couldn't speak German because it's a horrible sound. It sounds like typewriters eating tinfoil being kicked down the stairs. And somebody is talking to you in German. They're saying, and you think, what is happening to you from behind? How can we make it stop? Please go away. No, that's not prejudice. That's just observation. And
it's funny because Mark from the Mark and George show, he's Dutch, right? And Dutch, if you don't know
Very
German
similar
or
to
French, it sounds like a mix between French and German. There's a lot of stuff in there. And every time I hear it, I'm like, oh, I mean, it sounds interesting. It sounds better. I'll say this: it does sound better than German. But when Mark doesn't have a very heavy accent in Dutch, but he does sometimes act like he does, and when he does that, I'm just like so turned off as a human being. I do not like the full like if a Japanese girl, a Chinese person, sorry, not just a girl, but Japanese, Chinese, Korean accent, I think is adorable when they speak English, and even French, adorable. Not Dutch, not German. I'm sorry. I feel so bad because I'm getting ready to meet. I'm going to meet Melanie in Japan when I go. We're planning to have lunch or something, and I'm sure she's going to talk to me about this, and I'm going to have to like look her in the eye and say, "Yeah, your accent not attractive."
Well, agree to disagree. I personally think French sounds weird, and I'm not trying to. I'm in the same tune that you were describing. I think it's arbitrary. I like German. I understand that when pronounced a certain way, it can sound very angry.
That's any language, though. I mean, when you first learn, even Chinese, like it just sounds like, holy shit, I'm so sorry to offend you. No, I was just saying, welcome to China.
That's a nice shirt you're wearing.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. But French always sounds like you're saying something amazing.
You know what they're probably saying to you, George? Like wearing that shirt, they're probably like, "Oh, do you have a boyfriend? Do you want one?"
Depends. Does he look like a girl? Because my conditions. There's a reason I say I'm 7% gay. If the guy looks like a girl, okay, we shouldn't have this discussion again. In other
People
words,
have been asking what 7% gay means.
It really just means someone defined it for me, and I was like, okay, I guess that makes sense. I have to meet a trap, I guess is the term that they use. Someone that looks like a girl and you think is a girl.
Where's that sound effect for like politics / controversial topic?
I don't have that. That's not me. That's Mark. That's Mark.
I know. Yeah. I'm just saying, like, for the sake of the conversation.
Hang on. Give me a second. I do have a way to get sound effects.
There's an iceberg ahead, Captain.
All right, here we go.
I read a book that referenced them as a katoi.
What?
I read a book that referenced them as a katoi. It's Thailand for ladyboy.
Oh, a katoi?
Katoi.
Oh. One of the reasons I don't want to go to Thailand is because I'm lady boys. I don't know what that sound represented.
What is that? Their gang call?
What the hell was that?
Doing drive-by with Skittles.
It's like that's like the ladyboy crip whistle.
I need to set up my soundboard, guys.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Every
time someone mistranslates a question that you ask in one of the book videos, like book 4.
I think you should do that on your podcast.
I should. I thought you said you didn't want to listen to my podcast.
I wouldn't, but other people would, I'm sure. Listen,
I'm sure they would.
This is what I got to set up right here.
My voice resonates with the demeanor of like James Earl Jones or Vin Diesel.
I don't think so. I don't know. I don't know if you please go back and listen to this podcast. The best voice by a mile, Benjamino.
I disagree.
Your voice is actually no bass at all. You sound like you're talking on a phone. Benjamino sounds like a podcast, like a broadcaster. No, hang on, Big Perm, your voice cuts out for some reason, and when everyone gets quiet, then it booms in.
Is that any better, George? I switched to my blue snowball.
Whoa, where did Jack go?
I'm right here.
Oh my God, it sounds like a whole new person.
I know, it's because I switched to a different mode.
Yeah, why weren't you using that from the beginning?
Because it seemed like you guys couldn't fucking hear me for 20 minutes.
And we all know how important it is to hear Jack.
It's very important.
Can you send that mic to Big Sperm? I want to hear him speak more.
What did you call him?
Big Sperm.
Big Sperm.
Hey now. You know what? I get that so much.
Nah, dude. Wear that as a badge of honor.
Can I say
want
something? That was not
get that
intentional.
so much.
I actually said that by mistake.
Well, no, George, I get that so much.
Listen, I want to type something. Tell me if you saw this as an email address. I have a friend that has this as an email. Hang on, I'm typing it right now. So this is what his. Now this is supposed to be spirit, mind, body, but it just looks like sperm and bod to me. Every time. So I literally thought I've known this guy for like over a year, and I was like, "That's your email? Why is it sperm and bod?" It's not sperm and bod. It's spirit, mind, body. Like, look at that. Do you see it like I see it?
Yeah, I see it like you
I
see
don't know
it.
where you're typing it.
I typed it in the general room of the Polyglot George channel.
That does look like.
No, I definitely see it.
You see it, right?
I just told you I did.
Cool.
英語できますか?
I gotta figure out when to use these sounds. Every time Big Perm speaks, I'm just gonna do this.
That's what he says.
That's kind of.
I don't want to demonetize your video any further. I had a joke. I'm not gonna say it.
It's already demonetized. Don't worry about it. I'm pretty sure.
Okay, fine.
No,
That's
don't. No,
what
I was joking. No, don't. No, we're good. Why did your parents move to Switzerland? Don't. No. I don't need it. We're good.
No, I'll tell you. So my
Can we
dad
get
works for Swiss.
Can we get a vote in the chat room? How many people really want to hear this story about why Jack's parents moved to Switzerland?
The story's over, George. Fuck you.
I remember our first meeting, Jack, and you told me, "Please call me a dick," and I said I couldn't do that. But now, I feel like I could.
A dick. I am a dick. You know I am. Have you seen any of Conan O'Brien's videos where he like works with his dad?
Oh yeah, where he's his I forget the guy's name. It's the funniest.
Jordan Slansky.
Yeah, that guy's.
Jordan.
You're not Jordan.
I'm Jordan Slansky.
You're not Jordan.
I'm absolutely Jordan Slansky.
No, Jordan doesn't say anything forever, and then when he does speak, it's very short bursts and very succinct.
That doesn't mean that our demeanors aren't similar.
I think if we asked everybody listening, no one would say that you're Jordan Slansky.
Hey,
Stephen Jacobs just said no.
Well, that's that then.
And you know, Stephen Jacobs has given me multiple super chat money, so I think he's the one. So he's obviously. Have you?
I've given you a few.
Okay, all right. I think it's Stephen Jacobs that there was someone the other day. Every time he said something to me, he gave me a super chat. I don't know who that was. Not on Polyglot George, on Japanese Missouri. You
just selectively edit out the times that I give you money.
Do I?
Because you're like, well, it's Jack.
Hang on, I see one coming in right now. Oh, more money came in. Woohoo!
I'm not seeing it.
I'm joking. I'm saying it would be funny to have a cowbell every time money came in. You know, it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird that in the Mark and George show, Mark's going to eventually be asking for donations for the show, and I don't know how I feel about that.
Well, I will say the first episode, if I'm being completely honest, y'all traipsed into the political conversation very quickly, which I know it's not controllable at this point in time. Like, it just happens.
Both.
I was like, there are like several things I want to challenge you on, Mark. So,
well, I don't know if you've listened beyond that, but we actually now are kind of like, yeah, we're going to talk about politics if it comes up. It happens.
I've only listened to the first show thus far, so.
Well, shame on you. And
I've watched all of them.
See, man.
I mean, y'all were talking about like the the Gillette commercial or whatever. I know that you guys had differing opinions, but his whole perspective was skewed, in my opinion.
Well, other people disagree and said Mark's a true hero, and then I'm an SJW. I was called an SJW for that.
I think it's ridiculous when I'm called an SJW, and most people would think, yeah, he acts like an SJW. It's like, no, I just act like a human. Well, what the fuck was that?
Oh my god! I could see, like, if I was an actual like disc jockey with callers calling in, Jack would definitely be one of the guys that called up, and I'd definitely have sound effects for him. Be like, I like how Jack's not saying anything anymore.
I have nothing to say. That is in no way similar to my personality.
Oh, what'd you say, Jack?
I'm not gonna say anything. Dude, you think you're gonna trap me? Nah, that's not how this. Hey, you know what, James? Thank you. I like the way you think.
Oh my god. You got Alexa, turn on room fan.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Burn it up, man.
I don't know where this conversation's going.
Do I sound any better now?
Yeah, actually it does.
I put on my headset.
Yeah, it's a little bit better. You have the second best voice in the room because you have a unique accent. I enjoy that.
Wow, just fucking. You want to
look? The worst thing I could do.
You want to buy me a couple of drinks first, George, before you like straight up do
the worst thing I could do, Jack, is make you feel special. Trust me. Because I've already ranged you in enough. The minute I start saying, Jack, you really impressed me as a human being, like, oh shit, here it comes the Jack and George show. Oh my god. Burnt Rolls said the turkey sound is more interesting than Jack.
Wow.
Yeah. I have a slew of jokes that I could make Burnt Rolls.
Do they all start like this?
Most of them would involve your mom, but
Oh. Did you know that Burnt Rolls' mother died in a fire last week? And I think that probably you're gonna really send him down the wrong. She's finally coming out of it, and you talking about his mother, probably is gonna.
He shouldn't wear his personal tragedy on his sleeve. Dude,
I didn't even push it this time. The computer learned.
Hey, Mark.
Oh, wrong guy. Sorry. Hang on, I had the wrong. What did you say, Big Perm?
Good save. You were about to say Big Perm. I know you were.
I just think Jack's voice just sounds like Middle America, like plain.
Middle America?
Plain.
I live in Colorado, you fucking dumb fuck. That's literally the middle of America.
Hey.
Wait a minute now.
That's why your voice sounds like that.
Why are you attacking Big Perm? He's a great guy.
I agree he's a good guy. That's why I'm attacking him, because I'm a nice guy that deprecates his.
It's a good thing I can take a drink.
Hang on. Yeah. Listen. I'm only going to play the gobble sound when I think you've gone on too long. How about that? Does that... Like, if I feel like, okay, you got your point out, now you're segueing into something else that maybe doesn't need to be talked about. Can I get back to the talking? Does that sound like a good thing to do there, Jack?
That's good. Have I deviated from the conversation at all? It's already misplaced. You're already fucking it up. You're already misusing the gobble.
I'm not. It's like the Click movie. My browser has learned my pattern.
So all you're doing is just interrupting anything I say, absent of context, and just being like, gobble, 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 gobble.
What? I'm sorry. I was listening to the turkey. All right. I think we.
Yes. You're an asshole.
Oh, hey, Burnt Rolls, why don't you come into the chat? I wouldn't mind talking to Burnt Rolls. He's an important guy.
Yeah, Burnt Rolls, come into the chat, man.
You know what Burnt Rolls is?
I came in here.
Do you know what Burnt Rolls does for me, Jack?
What does he do?
He, on every video that I make recently, he's been giving time codes for everything that happens in the video. It's really helpful. It's not just those assholes that are like, video starts here. It's, lesson starts here. Get past George's bullshit. He's actually very helpful. He's actually our first Magster. That's the Mark and George show-ster, right? Magster.
Wow.
I think I made him a producer on the Mark and George Discord.
George,
yes, sir.
Feel free to kick me out after I say this.
Oh, God, come on.
If you had any.
I'd be splitting any hairs if I had any?
You'd be splitting hairs if you had any.
Oh, where's the sound effect for... Damn, that was a funny joke. Hang on. I think I found it. Here it is. That wasn't it. Damn it.
That was good. I like that. It was like the gong symbolizes I won. I don't have one for...
Choose your destiny.
Is it this one? That wasn't it. That's not the right one either.
Too late. You already used the gong. You already acknowledged it was a good joke.
Let's see. Is it this one?
Jack won.
That's a little bit too loud. That's a little bit loud in my ear. I have to turn that down.
That's a great song, man. That's a great song.
That is a good. Yeah, that is a good song. That's also a good sound effect. So.
I definitely agree. It's the best sound effect. I mean, I'm glad that at least we've gotten out of this deep discussion.
Yeah, we're having a good time. Yeah.
Hey George,
yes.
what's your French level at now? Because I haven't followed. I didn't follow that journey. Your French level.
Je pense mon français est
that was Spanish.
Très. Shut the fuck up. Très.
Shut the fuck up.
Wait, pardon my French.
Oh no, that needs the womp womp. Nope.
I'm pretty sure that needs this. I don't
entirely inappropriate. Everybody.
I don't remember how to say bad, and ce n'est pas bien. Does that mean it's not good? Anyway, it's been 3 months since I've done any French lessons, so I really haven't added to it. And I'm not sure how much I lost. I'm sure I definitely lost some of it. And I feel really bad because, damn, I love my French teacher a lot. But I just made a random decision that I was going to put more effort into my other things. And it was making me feel really, really busy that I had classes all the time. Because I was booking. And I would do Chinese, and then I would do French, and then I would do Japanese, and I would do Korean. And then the videos weren't getting released anyway. So I think now, though, now that I've got a better setup where, for example, everything now is analog. So right here on my desk, I have all of these controls that make it so much easier than using voice meter and what I was using before. And my voice is so much cleaner that it makes me want to do videos. I think that's why you've seen me do a lot of videos on all the channels recently. And tonight I almost did a Korean from zero, which I haven't done forever.
How did you feel going from?
Instead, you decided to waste your time with that.
Did you hear that?
Go ahead.
Maybe you couldn't hear he was talking. Hang on. Give me 1 second.
Shut up. Nope. I got it. Go ahead and talk. You're only delaying him talking. This is your fault, George.
Wait a minute. I have another sound for Big Perm. All right, cool. All right, go ahead. Go ahead. See, Benjamin's trying to make it an actual, interesting thing. Go ahead.
I feel like I'm ruining the fun, to be honest with you.
No, you're making it. You're making it an intelligent podcast.
No, I'm joking. No, I was going to ask because my first language that I started learning was Japanese, so an Asian language, obviously. And then the second language was Italian. And I was wondering if you experienced this, because before I started Italian, I just assumed that, like, oh man, this is going to be way easier than Japanese. But the actual early stage, I struggled with.
It's so hard.
Yeah, because you get used to concepts in Japanese and you take them for granted. And then you go to Italian, you're like, fuck, like, I have to actually care about
feminine and masculine and
exactly
and all of the what do they call them, the shoot, I don't even remember the words anymore. Give me a second.
The verb conjugation.
No, it's not the English. Not rendezvous. There's a word for the way you have to connect the word if it starts with a consonant or versus a vowel.
In French, it's a liaison.
Liaison. Yeah, like stuff like that. You know, coming from Japanese and Korean, both, all of their verbs have built-in pronouns for whatever you need it to be, whatever makes sense contextually. Chinese also kind of can do that, right? And nothing changes if you're a boy or a girl, and that's and that's the hardest part about French, right? It's not because you're a female or a male; it's because the word itself is randomly determined as male, masculine or feminine, and it's no rhyme or reason. And then apparently in Spanish, the same word might be masculine that's feminine in French, even though they're similar sounding words. So it's completely mind fuck.
My bad. It was the wrong word. The liaison in French is whenever you carry the last consonant to the vowel of the next word. Same thing happens in Korean when you use the last letter of a word into the next.
Well,
letter.
yeah, I guess it's similar. Yeah, I guess.
You're talking about gender specific. I'm talking about the way you speak it.
Right. No, but I was actually bringing up the whole. You're right. Korean is harder than Japanese speaking because of things like that, because they have consonant endings and Japanese doesn't. You know what's weird? This is a big problem for me. Now that I know Korean and Japanese, I don't mix. I realize the type of words that I mix up into Japanese by mistake that's Korean. Now that I have conversations in Korean, and then I come home and I'm speaking to my wife in Japanese, I'll throw in a Korean word that follows Japanese sound rules. So, for example, there's a word for so taikyosen means who knows what taikyosen means? Jack, do you know what that means? Taikyosen.
Taikyosen? No, I don't.
It's air pollution. Anyway, so you have taikyosen, and so that word, and that's not where I was trying to go, but that's probably there's a word, like, I don't remember the word in Japanese, believe it or not, I only know the Korean word. So when I was trying to say something about this dust problem in Korea, where this yellow, like, dust comes down from China, from their pollution into Korea, and then it flows over to Japan. So it's called misemonji in Korean, but it follows Japanese sound protocol. Misemonji. Right? It doesn't have anything that's uniquely Korean. So I'll just be speaking full-blown Korean or Japanese and throw in misemonji ga sugoi oindatte ima. I was like, what did you say? And I'm like, don't know. Or nunchi. So nunchi in Korean means, you know the term KY in Japanese? Kuki yomenai, right? So kuki yomenai means they can't read the air, but Korean has a single word for it. It's nunchi. And normally in Korean you'd say nunchi ga opsoyo. He has no, situational awareness. But in Japanese I'll be like, yeah, kare wa nunchi hontoni nai desu yo ne. And it feels right because it follows Japanese sound protocols. That's a problem I'm having recently. That's all I have to say about that.
How confident do you feel?
Hey,
sorry, go on, man. Sorry.
No, you started first, Benjamino.
I was gonna throw into something like, that's racist because I'm from Texas.
No, I was gonna ask how confident you feel nowadays, because you started learning Japanese when you were 17. Is that right, or is that when you moved to Japan?
No, I moved when I was 12. I started learning. I started learning right away, and I got my first interpreting job at 17. Not that I was good, but I got a job at 17 somehow.
Because I was going to ask you, as a teacher, how confident do you feel that you can still relate to a beginner level? Because obviously Japanese, Like maybe now you take for granted a lot of rules. That
I don't. I'll tell you, that's one thing I don't do. And I think I'll say this. That is a thing that happens, but I've always been super cognizant of the fact that the books that are my competition, I hate them because they're written by linguists and they're written by people that studied at Harvard and whatnot, and they don't have the ability to bring it back down to everyday speaking. And because they are linguists and they have linguist friends, they certainly can't call something the can't do form. They have to call it the potential form, and they have to use things like copula. They have to say those because it'll look like they don't know what they're talking about. So on that line, I felt like I kept a pretty low level, understanding what people don't understand and being able to keep it there. But one thing that really brought me back down to earth was 6 years ago when I started learning Korean, and I became a beginner again in Korean. And because of the similarities of grammar between Korean and Japanese, I think all the videos from that point that I made are so much more in tune with the beginner. And that's why you'll hear me say, in Korean I did this, in Korean I did that, because I never learned Japanese in a world where we had the internet, but I learned Korean in the world where we had the internet. So I think it helped me out a lot, to be honest with you.
So you're saying you can relate to the beginner, at least in a soft sense, because...
I didn't say soft sense. I think I could completely relate to the beginner. I didn't say soft. Did I say soft sense?
I'm incorporating your perspective into the soft sense.
Are you mansplaining me, Jack?
Are you a man?
I mean, I don't know another word. Are you Jack-splaining me?
I'm Jack-splaining.
Go ahead. Keep your thought going. I won't gobble you. Go ahead.
Yeah, you just... No, I don't want to say it now.
I hit it by mistake, dude. It was a mistake.
Oh, sure.
I was trying to close out an ad on the Instant Rim Shot page.
You've been studying... Here's the simple explanation. And
Sure.
This is hard for me because I'm so verbose. You may have forgotten certain very specific facets of learning Japanese that were difficult for a beginner, but you understand a beginner's perspective in a general sense.
Yeah.
That's what I meant by soft. So not soft, general.
I would agree.
The details are...
I would agree if I wasn't talking to beginners every single day.
Wow. How did those words come out of your mouth? Do they taste good? They taste like...
What are you saying? I don't understand what you mean, Jack, by that. Did I say something weird?
No, I'm just saying... Okay, then you kind of corrected yourself there.
I did?
I felt like you were agreeing with me for a little bit.
No, I would agree if means I don't agree.
Would you agree why
I understand what you're saying, and if I wasn't always doing ask a teacher like stuff or talking to people that are learning Japanese, I would agree. But I talk to them so much that how can I possibly forget their struggle? And I know you don't see it, but Mike, my video editor, is learning Japanese, and I talk to him every day. Melanie asks me questions. Mark asks me questions all the time, and I'm like, I see how you see it that way. And normally I can predict. I'm pretty good at predicting where people are going to have mistakes. If you look at even the new revision of Japanese Master Book 1, I think I'm even more in tune now than I was when I wrote that book, because I look now and I go, oh man, I missed a lot of what they could misunderstand here. But now I know, because I went through Korean, and look, it's true. I have at one point in 2012, before I was doing Korean, I probably was at the most far away I could have been from a beginner, right? And but when I started learning Korean and I took classes, which I hadn't done, in 20 years, I hadn't taken a class in anything, taking a class in Korean and then going to a cafe and crying, like as a 40-year-old man, crying in a cafe because the teacher's explanation didn't satisfy me and the book is a piece of shit. And the sentence that they were using used too many things outside of the grammar. Like the grammar they're trying to teach is A, but they've got B, C, and D in there. And I say, why are they putting so many things in this one sentence that we've never talked about in the book? They say, well, because you can look it up. I'm like, fuck you. I'm trying to learn a grammar about A, and I'm so confused about B, C, and D that at the end of the sentence, I don't even give a shit about A anymore. And I go to the cafe and I cry. So I'll tell you right now, I definitely understand the beginner way more than I used to, and I'm not triggered or anything like that. I'm just, and I understand that I understand where the question comes from, Benjamin, and I understand how you think about it too, Jack. But yeah, and by the way, it's easy for me to be biased and obviously think about, oh, I'm the great George Trombley, and of course I have to understand the beginner, so I must say that. But I'm not just saying it. If I felt like I didn't understand the beginner, I would totally tell you. But I really feel like I know what you don't know more than you think.
Yeah, George. Let me say one thing, and I'm gonna dip out because as much as I come across as a cocky asshole. Sorry.
Hey, Mark.
Hey, Mark. What's going on?
Hey.
Sorry, this is
hang on, Mark. This is an important thing that
jumped into.
It's an important thing that Jack is saying. Go ahead, Jack.
So I come off as jokingly, of course, that's my style of humor. Like Dylan Moran, Frankie Boyle, that's my style of humor. Is very deprecating, self-deprecating, very cocky, but at the same time, very lack of confidence. So when I say something like, "Oh, you understand the general sense of, someone's beginner status, but you don't remember the finer details that you went through because it's been so long." I didn't say that.
I've heard you make jokes, but I don't think I've ever heard you make a self-deprecating joke, to be honest.
By the way,
it's
Mark's
mostly
not...
because George is such an easy target that I feel like it's just I'm.
George is also better at making jokes at other people's expense than at his own expense, honestly.
Yeah, I've made jokes at my own expense. They'll happen, but what I was trying to say is that my foot is in my mouth right now because you've exactly described the exact detailed, albeit not strictly analogous, situations that I've dealt with where I've felt particularly down because I've been dealing with a lot of people like on Discord where I've been trying to communicate in Japanese strictly and felt like, damn, I can't necessarily understand every single point like I feel like I should be doing.
That's really hard, though.
It is
like full-blown Japanese. It's really, really hard.
Yeah, Mark, I've been studying for 2 years. I have an overly high expectation.
2 years, man. It's a long time.
Well, I've also been studying for 2 years, and I'm just beginning to hear what people are saying. And this is actually, like, I think maybe 6 months ago, that's when I decided that Japanese is probably going to be a lifelong study for me. If it even takes me so long to recognize what people are saying, then the study will probably never be done. And that's actually something that made it easier for me to keep studying Japanese, is because, if you don't give yourself like a timetable for that's when I have to be fluent, then it takes off a lot of stress, and that's very useful.
That's exactly the way that I feel about it. So
yeah.
When I made that comment to George, I wasn't trying to be snide. I wasn't trying to be anything. I was just saying, like, maybe trying to help clarify based on my own perspective. And
yeah, so, I should say, George, by the way,
George, I didn't want to come across as saying like I was being super snarky or anything like that. Like, oh, you're the elite trying to relate to us folk that are still trying to learn through the basics of Japanese. I was just trying to.
Well, actually, when George is explaining Japanese, that's the only time when he gets into super serious no joke mode, and so I don't think that George is thinks that it's in that sense is snarky.
No. I sounded like I was being snarky. I'm not saying.
Oh, you sound. Yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes you can't help it but sound snarky. That probably applies to all of us, but
I'm slowly but surely losing my point here.
Well, I would say my contention with you is that you talk too much. Like, you keep talking, but you don't get to the point.
That's a personal problem that I have. That's not just in the context of any conversation we have with each other. That's a problem I have at work with my family. That's just me.
That and more on the Mark and George
show. Okay, I understand.
All units proceed to your post assignment.
Hey, I know this
one. George Trombley, Mark van Dijk. The Mark and George Show.
Well, the weather in Las Vegas is a balmy 72 degrees. I'm looking over the valley and the traffic is flowing well on the freeway. We've got a little bit of a crowded spaghetti bowl near downtown, but things are looking like they're ironing out. Our first caller is Jack.
My name is Mark.
I don't think
if it's the Mark
I don't
and
think
George
you could find a more shameless plug if you saw Tucker Carlson jerking off on the Constitution.
This is what I'm talking about. Your lead up to the joke was so slow. Like,
I was waiting for the cue. I'm sorry.
No. Even when you from the moment you started talking, it was. I don't think I've ever heard a joke so slow to the Tucker Carlson. So where were you going with that, man? Also, Jack.
That was a shameless plug.
Is there such thing as a shameful plug?
No.
Granted. Okay.
Good point.
Here's the thing, Jack. What is the thing? I don't even know what the thing is anymore. Honestly, I know what I was gonna say, Jack. Because we have our history, it's easy to poke fun at you. And Mark has also said some very strong things about you before we even had the Mark and George show. There's a thing that remember what your first impression of Mark? Remember Mark?
You mean my first impression of Jack?
Of Jack, sorry. God damn it.
Well, I
remember you said something to me. I wish I could find the first thing you were like. Yeah. Go ahead.
Well, what I think basically can be condensed as Jack never gets to the point and takes up all of the time, and that makes it really difficult to make it into a conversation if there's one side, talking. But also, it would help if you just acknowledge what the other person is saying
and not add to it. Don't add to it. Just say, I agree. What you do is you say, this is what you do, Jack. You go,
or you say, oh, that's interesting. Or you say, oh, do you really think that? And leave it at that and give the other person time to respond, because that makes a conversation way more interesting, is, an exchange of thoughts.
You know what you're doing, Jack, is this is what it's, because I'm guilty of it too. I've done it and I've tried to correct myself, but you're looking for the next thing that you need to say. And so you're waiting for that moment. And the minute you feel there's an opening, you go, that's interesting. It reminds me of this time. And you keep going and going and going. And then that leads me to this other thing. And then you don't even give a breath so the other person can agree with you and maybe add something to the conversation.
That's fair. That's
Capiche?
an absolute. To both of you, that's an absolutely fair point.
I didn't realize my question would spawn this much discussion, this intervention.
Hey, you know what?
This last reaction from Jack that's the right way to react. You said, oh yeah, I understand, and you leave it at that. That's fine. That gives the other person time to respond.
Did I hear your son in the background, Mark?
It's just
yes. It's 7:30 a.m. here, and my son just woke up, so I'll be muted for.
This sounds a little bit contrarian. Or
hang on, can I say something, Jack? That's a good example of what just happened, by the way. So me and Mark, I heard Mark's son in the background. I entered into a new conversation with Mark just briefly about his son, and he said, yeah, he answered my question, but you kept talking to get your thing continuing going. You need to take a moment at that time and go and just stop and wait for it to be over.
Wait for a better moment. There's always time to pick up where you left off. You don't have to push it through.
And I apologize. That wasn't
because
me
your voice
trying to be
very, very nice to listen to.
Exactly.
Honestly.
He's got a blue Yeti.
So if you use it in a better way, then by saying less, actually, then it makes people more interested than if you keep talking. Or actually, it's not about just keeping talking, but it's also about not hearing, not acknowledging what the other person's saying. That's the most important thing.
I'd ask jokingly if you could say what you just said about my voice a little while ago for the sound.
Actually, I like your voice so much. Listen, Mark, I'm gonna play a clip of Jack's voice earlier. Here it is.
So, no, in all honesty, Mark,
you're learning, George, how to use those sound effects properly.
I vaguely heard your son's cries, and I just didn't.
It wasn't a cry, man. It's the cutest.
He wasn't crying.
It's the cutest voice on earth.
Papa.
Get him on the mic.
He was crying.
I miss Steve. I want to talk to Steven.
No,
right
he just woke up. He needs a bit of time first.
Hi, George.
I'll be right back, guys.
Hi, George. He's so cute. He's like uber cute, and he speaks Dutch only. So he's like, sushi.
Mark, you want to watch the earlier parts of this video? Or?
Did you hear that Mark just left? He'll be right back.
Anyways, I focus very intently on one.
I hope we haven't depressed you, by the way. We're not. That's not our goal.
No, you haven't.
Good.
I like this. I'm
you know what you are? You're like one of the whack pack on the Howard Stern show. Like, you know what I'm talking about?
No, I don't.
Oh, you don't? Who knows what the whack pack is, and who would agree with me that if anyone...
I have no idea, man. I don't know the whack pack, and I don't really know Jack very well, so I'd feel bad commenting, to be honest.
No, I judge me based on what you know about me, because any kind of criticism you can have of how I behave is helpful to help me be a better person, and that's something that anybody can take. So, I mean,
well, you seem cool to me, bro.
This is my ultimate problem. I will lay this out very succinctly. I have so much that I want to address that I have to focus on one thing. And as a result, it seems
but that
like
counts
I'm
for everyone.
ignoring everything else.
That is everyone. That's literally everyone.
That counts for everyone.
Yeah, everyone has a billion things they want to say, but then it's a give and take. If you watch the Mark and George show, you can probably see me struggling not to say things.
But I am an overly argumentative and confrontational fucker.
Does that make you special?
That is who No, it doesn't make me special.
So don't lose that character trait. Try to do it with few words.
Just try to hone it. Do it with fewer words.
Yeah,
that's all you
get
can
to the
leave.
point. Get to the main, because you do. It's true. You have a good voice. You are not saying, you're not saying you're not saying things that are, well, they're boring because you keep going on them and you expound on things you shouldn't expound on, but you actually have a good tone when you speak and you have a good pace. So you have these good things about you. You just need to use them. Sum up and then stop, like I just did.
My whole conversational
get a good
approach
mic.
is footnote based.
That's right. You gotta get a good mic, man.
Gotta get a good
having
mic.
the bass tone.
I
Is
have
really...
a good mic, George.
Oh,
Can you
shit!
hear me right now?
You're amazing.
Breathing into your ear.
Yeah,
nibbling your neck.
Hang on, I'm going to turn up my volume a little bit.
Nibbling my neck.
The turkey sound.
Brett, you're asking how to join the chat. You just jump into the Polyglot George channel. Discord. I'm going to go ahead and send you the link right now. Anyone wants to join. I don't know how long we're going to be here, but
probably all day.
I'm probably going to back out just because I got some friends that I want to talk to. But
see, if you would have just said, "I want to back out because I got some friends," that would have been good. I'm joking with you now.
Wow, ragging on the guy.
No, honestly, you're not going to depress me with comments like that.
I refuse to be put down by you people who think you got power.
I don't think the goal is to depress you, by the way.
No, it's not. We're just fucking. Half of me is not being genuine. I'm being a little bit disingenuous by being upset with you, because I'm enjoying the.
That's how this entire relationship started, by the way.
Yeah, well, you started it by saying "call me a dick." That was the first thing you said.
You started it.
Wait a minute, I didn't start it. You started it.
Okay. Time out here.
No,
I would like.
No,
I would.
No, Mark. This is the joke. So I'll.
No, wait. For the record, Mark was there.
funny.
Mark was there. Mark was on the live stream. He's an admin of the YouTube channel. Go ahead, Mark.
Hey guys.
Hey, Mark.
Hey.
Such a beautiful voice. Go ahead, Mark.
It's by
You're
the way,
humble.
it's 7:42 a.m. here, so really early for me. But what were we talking about? What do I need to confirm or deny?
What I was trying to say was that you were there for the first moment where Jack made an appearance on the YouTube channel.
Was that the first moment?
That was
really?
the first moment, yeah.
Because
I believe
oh
so.
my, well,
No.
that's a surprise. I thought that Jack was there for much longer.
I
Because of
was
how you
there for
talk,
much
honestly.
longer. It was the first point in this whole community's time span that George actually gave it.
Huh?
Oh, here he's back. He's back. I hear him.
Jack just cut out, or
no. It was the first time in the history of this community that George actually noticed.
Hang on, can I say something? I want to change the topic. I saw something.
Need a cough button, by the way.
I know. I don't have one. I'm gonna find one. I just saw something in the chat that is interesting. I don't want to use it. All right, I'll open it up. I just saw something in chat on YouTube that I want to hear a little bit more about. Wadea says, "Too bad Cats turned into a scammer." That's the guy that originated AJAT. I hadn't heard this. How is Cats a scammer?
Yeah, I haven't heard this either. It's a Katsumoto, right?
Yeah, Katsumoto.
How does he a scammer? Wadea, do you mind coming into the Polyglot George channel and talking about it?
Who is this?
What
we're talking about?
So there's the all Japanese all the time methodology that was absolutely pioneered by a guy named Katsumoto. I'm pretty sure he's the one that started it, because I saw it easily 10 or 15 years ago. People were asking me what it was, and I was like, I have no idea at the time. But now there's this comment saying, "Too bad he turned into a scammer." So I'm curious what they mean by that.
I thought he was trying to sell a language learning program at one point in time after AJAT.
Does that make you a scammer if you try to sell a language learning program?
Well, I think he was trying to sell the same stuff he was giving for free. I don't know if that makes you a scammer or not.
Oh crap, I do that. I give out my videos for free, but I sell a book with the same material. I don't know.
Yeah, scammer confirmed.
Shit.
Scammer confirmed.
Shit.
Well, it's been fun, guys.
I think. Oh, hey everyone, this is Otter.
Hey, Otter.
Going in the chat. Hey, yeah. So in Matt versus Japan's channel on AJAT, he mentions that during the end of after he finished the table of contents and everything, he was trying to make money off of it. But since it was before Patreon and all that, he pretty much was just selling how-to AJAT books or something like that. And I guess that's
so. Is it his own?
Yeah,
his own work that he's trying to sell.
Yeah, I think it's I actually don't know exactly what was in the content, because I don't want to buy that. You know, it's all the stuff you need for AJAT's on the site. So why would you need to buy? Yeah.
Okay, but
so
still,
I don't
it's
know
not a scam. I mean, I can make stuff for free
not at
and
all.
later decide to sell it. It's not doesn't make it a scam.
Well, check this out.
What the
even worse
word is for
this?
this?
Go ahead.
Disappointment. That's the word for it.
Yeah.
It's people are disappointed. Well, that's fair, but don't call him a scammer.
Yeah, I mean, I give away the Korean from Zero book, and I simultaneously sell the exact same book for $30 almost on Amazon, even though it's free.
We had a scam on our first Mark and George show about a guy who sold a roller stick, and it was called Head On, and you apply it directly to your forehead, and that's all the
apply directly to your head.
Yeah, that's all the commercial said. He didn't claim it did anything. It didn't do anything. But the guy, people gave it magical properties, and that's how he started to sell that stuff like crazy. I guess that qualifies as a scam.
No, I don't think Katz was trying to scam anyone. That wasn't me who made that comment on the feed. I was just rationalizing why he said that. Yeah, because I think that the AJAT idea is a good idea, but it's something you can't really market, because it's pretty much how do you sell an idea that says, oh, by the way, devote your entire life to this thing? It's it's not a phrase book.
Hang on, someone posted exactly what happened. Josh Underwood said, actually, Wadea said he started selling an extremely expensive individualized language instruction how-to program that didn't really work and couldn't give flat refunds after it didn't, because he had a guarantee that said if you weren't fluent after 2 years or so, you were entitled to a refund, but then he couldn't make the refunds.
That's a very dumb.
The super dumb, because it's individual. And how's he going to prove?
I'll subscribe, and 2 years later, hey man.
Yeah, I mean,
study,
exactly.
And I'm still not fluent.
He thinks that people are going to be honest and say, even if I did get fluent from his system, if I paid him $1,000, I'd kind of want my money back just to get my money back.
Exactly. What does that mean? What does that mean anyway? If after 2 years I feel fluent, and then I go up to him and I say, "Hey, dude, I can't understand string theory lectures in Japanese. I want my money back, bro." Now, what does that mean?
AJAT was supposed to do it all, man. It's magical. It's the easiest, funnest, most great way to learn Japanese. Sorry, that's Japanese Pod 101.
Well,
Sorry.
But I can see the appeal of AJAT.
You could be fluent in English and not understand string theories.
Not true. Once I learned how to do verbs in English.
Benjamino said,
go ahead.
The appeal with AJAT, because I don't.
It's a magic pill. That's what the appeal is.
Said it. Sorry,
I can see the appeal of AJAT from a beginner language learner standpoint, because when you first go to learn a language, most people go to Google or how to learn a language, this and that, and it doesn't really tell you how. But AJAT says, "Here, I'm gonna hold your hand. I'm gonna walk you through these
AJAT is
steps
falsely describing
Jack, could you please let Big Perm finish
I'm
his...
sorry. I was just trying to follow up on what he was saying.
No, you were interrupting.
I was.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I can understand from a beginner language standpoint. Most people, when they go to learn a language, they want that how to walk me through step by step. Well, AJAT has the step by steps, and it has the method. So I can see the appeal. But like I said, I watched a bunch of YouTube videos on how to learn languages and stuff like that when I first started, and it was an utter waste of time. You know what the one thing I took away from that was?
Yeah.
Find
you start
your
from
own
a place.
Hang on. The one thing you took away was what?
Find your own method that works for you on how to learn a language. That's it.
Yeah.
Thousands of videos and bam. That was it.
That's actually one of the things that's misunderstood about AJAT is that Katz actually does mention that in the very first posting. He says, "Take everyone's advice with a grain of salt, including my own." So a lot of people think that.
Wait, stop.
Yes. Oh yeah.
I want you to know how important that is to me, because this is the exact advice I give everybody. Fuck everyone's advice, including the advice I just gave you.
Yes.
Wow, we agree.
It's so it's funny. That's why I was like, when I found out that George and I don't know your opinion on Katsumoto directly.
I don't know
the
anything about him.
Seems like no worries. Yeah, I mean, I honestly only know him from his one YouTube video that Matt posted, and then his blog. But yeah, he's actually I was in doubt with the whole AJAT method. Then I read it, and he's really funny. But the main issue is people think I must obey AJAT 100%, but they ignore the very first part where it says remix AJAT, make it your own, make it fun, make it just all you're supposed to do is make Japanese enjoyable.
Here's what I've always not liked about AJAT. Everyone I've ever heard speak AJAT sounds like a punk kid. そうですけど、俺、そう思いたいですけどね、昔だ、そういうことなかったっすよね。Even Katsumoto in his videos is like, まずはな、もともとな、そういうね。And you sound like a fucking punk. You don't sound like a normal Japanese person would in society.
I agree.
まだ上手じゃないさ。
そう、上手じゃないっす。
まだ上手じゃないさ。
そんなこと言ったらね、もうまず最初からさ、そのこと言ったらね、もうね、ダメっすよ。
やめろ。
I don't like that either. I think it's too posery.
It's so posery.
But
dude, there's a video. Sorry, there's a video. Somewhere someone was recording it, I'm sure, where Matt had made there was some claim about that he was making about accent, not accent, tone, and what the fuck is it? Pitch accent. And I'm like, let me tell you what, Japanese people are not going to understand the difference between that. And I brought in my wife to prove it, right? And we were going back and forth, right? And I think at one point he made a point that my wife agreed with. So he says something like, じゃあ俺は勝ったってことですよね. So you mean I won, right? And the way it sounds like this. So what you're saying, girl, is that I won. He's talking to my wife, first of all, who's much older than him and an authority on the language compared to him, and he doesn't know her. So the one thing that I got, and by the way, Matt sounds fucking amazing in English, right? And his Japanese accent is amazing, but in English he sounds very classy. In Japanese he sounds like a punk kid. So when he said that, I'm like, the minute he said that, my wife said, "I'm out of here," and she left because it was insulting and said at the wrong time. And this is what I said at the time. I thought the problem with AJAT is they don't learn the humility that is the Japanese language. They're just learning to sound good.
And it's also because of the speed with which they want to master Japanese. You have to.
George Trombley proved it. He said that they learn too fast. Oh my god.
That's true, though, right? You
I
need
noticed
to
that
learn
with,
about the culture, about the various forms of respect.
Yeah, what up,
and you
dog?
really need to-
What up, dog? Yo, I think the other guy was trying to say something, yo.
Are you talking to me like this?
No,
on a
man, no,
stream?
dude. I totally respect you, dude. I got respect for you, man.
That's so ironic.
I was gonna say.
It sounds so ironic.
Go ahead, Otter.
My girlfriend, she's Japanese, and so talking about pitch accent, if I say to her Hana or Hana, I honestly, like, if I'm talking about a flower or a nose, she's gonna know what I'm gonna mean.
Exactly, context.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Hanamizu, like, if I'm talking about my nose is running, like, I got Hanamizu, and she's just like, she's not gonna think, like, what, you gotta water your flowers? Like, that has never occurred. You know?
Exactly. Hey, Mark, do you still have that clip?
Yeah.
Do you still have that clip that you played earlier today from the head of the Economic Forum or whatever, that German guy?
I do.
I want you to play just the first few seconds of that until I say stop, if you don't mind. Listen to this, guys. This is important. Yeah.
Give me a minute. I have to start up my soundboard. But, the point I wanted to make is that if you want to make a nice statue out of a big rock, you don't start with the polishing.
Oh, fuck, I love that.
I agree. Totally.
Nice one, huh?
Great one.
You a genius, shit.
Yes, here is Klaus Schwab. He's
now, don't listen to what he's saying. Listen to his accent. Go ahead, play it.
So we have to find this balance between keeping an open world and, on the other hand, keeping our national contracts alive, and to make sure that we maintain social cohesion.
Okay.
I think
now
the
this guy.
The other clip is even better. This one.
We're talking about the next wave of globalization, but we seem to be in a downtrend of a deglobalization right now. What is responsible for that?
I would reject this argument. I think we have to make a differentiation between globalization, which is a fact, and globalism. Let me come first to globalization.
Well, yeah.
So listen to that.
But yeah.
You hear what he's saying? The content is amazing. The accent doesn't matter. It does not
he
matter.
doesn't say the, he says the.
Yeah, his English sucks. Accent-wise, he's not age at level. But you know what? He's amazing. And
revolution.
And there are people on Japanese TV.
Yeah.
There are people on Japanese TV that also have shit accents, but they're lawyers and they've been to Harvard and their Japanese is uber high level, but they just didn't do pitch accent. It doesn't matter. And the thing is, sometimes your charm is your accent.
I agree. Yeah.
I was thinking of that. Could you imagine if Arnold Schwarzenegger spoke perfect English without his accent, and how what a miss that would be for him.
Could you imagine? Here's the scene.
Good point.
Here's the scene. Chun, 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 chun. Hey, I'll be back, guys. I'll be right back. Just gonna head out for a moment.
Yes. Hasta la vista, baby.
Hasta la vista, guys. Hasta la vista, baby.
It's such a vain pursuit, going after. And the thing is, one thing I want to say is that with the trying to acquire a native accent, I'm going to say is almost impossible anyway. So it's such a
exactly. But why would you want to? You're a foreigner. Why not sound like?
Listen to Mark.
I agree.
Mark's English is freaking amazing, but he has a slight Dutch accent that you can hear. And earlier today on the stream, what was that word? Consequential. He said consent. What did you say?
I wanted to say conscientious, but I said conscientious.
Conscientious, and I was like, that's cute. It's adorable.
No, you laughed your balls off.
And then I said it was cute.
Yeah, true.
And there's also this mumbling thing as well that a lot of Japanese learners do when they're trying to, because it kind of it covers for your mistakes and.
Oh, someone's doing that.
Oh, but wait, Japanese people do that too. They talk very softly.
The key point is, did we understand him when he said the mispronunciation of conscientious or what?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, George didn't understand
the key
me.
point.
So
why
then I had to look it up.
Like a native if you are a foreigner and people are going to expect you to pronounce things.
I agree, but I just don't even think it's realistic. I really don't. I don't think it's real. There's always gonna be a tell. So why?
This is very true.
Here's Katsumoto speaking Japanese, by the way. Listen to this.
もう散々言ってるぞ俺の凄さを。
散々言ってるぞ俺の凄さよ。 I've already told everybody how amazing I am. That's what he's saying right now. I should do an analysis of this, but I said I never would.
散々宣伝してるから。
散々宣伝してるから。
今更さ、変な発音してるビデオをね、流しても、しかも初ビデオとして。そういうやつ流しても。
It's good, don't get me wrong. His Japanese is amazing. Don't get me wrong.
But it sounds like, yo, I know Japanese, dog, and I want to sound so cool.
Yeah, well, I mean, we don't, now look, to be honest, we don't know what he was talking about. You know, this is a middle of the, wow, he only has 1,000 subscribers? How is that even possible?
My goal, by the way, was never to sound like an American. My goal was just to not sound Dutch. Because if I speak Dutch, then
that, don't do it, please.
In my opinion, sounds horrible.
Don't do it.
So that was the one thing I wanted to move away from. But it also, I was so young when I started to learn English that, you know, basically from the television.
Yeah, I should say, by the way, I'm not. Sorry.
No, go ahead. No, please.
I just want. I'm not criticizing anybody's accent in particular. I'm just saying that I think the pursuit of a native accent, that's what I'm challenging. I don't mind if Katsumoto sounds that way because his Japanese is great, but I just think the pursuit of a native-like accent is almost a waste of time, in my opinion.
Here's what I think about the whole thing.
Well, it's a polishing stage, so you know, it's all right to want to polish something. That's fine, but it shouldn't be, the cost shouldn't be your grammar skill.
Oh, you know. Mark, some people would argue that if you don't begin that polishing stage at the beginning, now I disagree.
You'll never get it.
For some,
that's right. That's what some people say.
True.
That's what Ajaz says.
For some people, that's true. I mean, I see it with many immigrants who come here and they learn the language, but they stop when it's time to learn how to sound
that
better.
Is different. I want to differentiate. A person that moves to a country as an immigrant and learns English or another language as a way to survive is not the same as a person.
No, but that was exactly the point I wanted to make.
Okay, well then we agree that it's not the same as a person that says I'm going to learn a language. When I learned Korean, I had a very bad Japanese accent in my Korean, but now I don't. So I was able to correct it because people can correct it. But I ran to Fluency City. I got there as fast as I could to get to that level that Benji was talking about earlier, that where you're intermediate.
Nice
Pardon me?
Sounds like a nice city.
It is a nice city. Actually, you're getting up there. You're getting up there, Mark. You'll be there. Once you get to Fluency City, set your bags down and then say, I'm going to improve my accent. I'm going to learn idioms. I'm going to learn 3 million kanji so I can be the most impressive guy at the party, you know?
Well, because it's fun.
Because I can draw, I can write shoyu and bara. I'm amazing. Even Japanese people can't do that.
In Japan, the thing that impresses people most is seems to be humility. So I'm aiming for that.
From my experience, they appreciate that my Japanese is good. They don't need the
but that's what you don't have to be spectacular about. They'll just notice it, and you can be humble about.
You have to. You have to go. Yeah, そんなことないですよ. The phrase I like to say is when they say your Japanese is good, I might say like, yeah, そう思いたいですけどね. I would like to think so. You know.
Or there's still a lot I have to learn.
You're a good guy, though.
Very
you got this, Mark.
One of the things I learned.
Version of that, by the way.
What'd you say, Jack?
Sorry. I learned
God damn it! Everyone's talking at once. Go, Jack, and then Otter.
Okay, this is kind of the problem is that I happen to talk when everybody else is talking, but
well, because you're waiting for your moment.
Okay. I don't care anymore.
God damn it! Go ahead, Jack.
I have my own version of that. I would hope so moment that you have.
What is that noise? I'm sorry.
Has a mechanical keyboard.
Sorry, that's my keyboard. Sorry.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Oh my God, you have a mechanical.
When I am speaking with people that don't expect that I have as much skill in Japanese as I do, I usually find some way to utilize the like someone says like and I say kyoshiku desu. So it's a very formal way of saying thank you very much for saying that, more or less. And people are like, oh, you know what that means? And I'm like, yeah, I'd learned it from this particular place here and there.
Interesting.
Someone's taking notes.
Why did someone feel the need to troll me by typing?
No one's trolling you
while I'm typing.
No one is trolling you, man.
No,
we were listening to what you were saying
right now.
You hear it?
Yeah, I can hear it.
Wait, you mean you hear typing or something? Is it coming from you, Mark?
Nope.
Huh. Must be me on this YouTube video called Typing Sound.
I cannot hear my keyboard even if
I'll hit pause there.
George, you fucker.
Wow.
Sorry, I was playing a game while people were like talking and whatnot, but
fluency.
I understand where you were coming from with that particular point. That's all I was trying to say. So I'm going to shut up now because I'm just going to get shit for.
One of the things I noticed.
You have a mechanical keyboard. That's always going to make people.
Oh,
respond.
I know. I expect.
That was actually a funny joke. I've heard worse.
One of the things I noticed when talking.
Go ahead.
It's very interesting to talk about how you react to them. They don't really care because I was talking about to when I was in Japan talking to my girlfriend and all her friends. Like there was a conversation I had where I was like, sometimes I forget if it's the pronunciation of this kanji is this or that. I don't remember. They don't care. But if you talk about Disney movies or you talk about something that's actually interesting, like they love. Well, a lot of my girlfriend's friends love like Vin Diesel movies. So we talk about Vin Diesel movies. That's way more interesting than having conversation about language.
It is kind of boring to keep talking about language things. I agree. But in the beginning, that's kind of all you can do until you get past that. True.
It's nice when somebody corrects you and you can say "Solana."
It's funny. Oh, sorry.
No, it's funny. Like for example, Jack says "kyoshiku desu," right? And he's got this phrase that he uses. And I have a similar thing in Korean where they say when they say you're Koreans, I say "아직 멀었어요," which means I'm still far away from where I need to be. And it's such a cool thing to say and unexpected. It's like the most amazing thing you can say. Almost that response is like someone's, "Oh, your English is amazing." Well, I certainly appreciate the comments that you're making about my English. It's like such an amazing thing to say that we, as we learn language, we look for where people laugh or where they get impressed, and then we constantly repeat that. And I think that's just part of the process. I don't know this word kyoshiku. You even taught me before, Jack, when I actually forgot what it meant. But I think it's funny how we do that. We all do that where we come up with these great phrases to say to get the laugh.
I mean, it's kind of become. I don't know. Oh God, it sounds so pretentious when I say it, but
here we go. Anyway,
he's self-aware, guys.
Mark.
Keep going.
No, that's why I'm so verbose when I explain things. It's like I'm so self-aware of my own fault.
Sorry, keep going.
Damn it, George, you fucking dick. You're such a dick, George.
Listen, you got a choice. You got that or this. What do you want, man? I feel like the typing at least lets you talk.
The typing is so much more appropriate, though.
The turkey cracks me up, though.
No, the typing is more contextually appropriate. No, but like I say it, and like every single time they're like, "Oh, that's what that means." They're like, "Oh, he knows."
Sorry, I'm just drilling a hole here. But what were you saying?
Fuck it, we'll do it live. We'll do it live.
Oh my god. Okay. No, but okay. I try to be serious, and then you fuckers just all decide to like.
Hey man, I got nothing to do with it, man.
I didn't say that you had anything to do with it. It's these guys that thought they could do a podcast about nothing and then find something to do it about.
Oh, that's beautiful.
I know.
A podcast about nothing.
It is beautiful. It's a podcast.
No, but when I hear George speak Japanese on Ego Egg, he doesn't. To me, wow.
Sorry, I think my fire alarm's going off right now. Shit.
Oh, I thought you were in reverse park. Sorry, guys, I'm just parking my truck here.
That's how lazy George is. He's literally jumped.
Hang on, I gotta hang up a picture here of picture of my wife and kids. I gotta just hang this up on the wall. Sorry about that. It's good now.
Okay.
What were you saying about Ego Egg?
I died.
What were you saying about Ego Egg?
He was fluffing you.
Yeah, I was fluffing you. No, I was just saying that when you speak Japanese on Ego Egg, to me, there's no real difference between because you don't do that monotone thing, where it's just like I don't know. 難しいだよね.
He doesn't do the Dogen like the Dogen method.
Yeah, dude, like I can't stand it because to me it does sound kind of posery. But
I just speak like I speak normally, you know, and that's how I sound in Korean too. I have my own voice, and honestly, I can't do that voice. Like there's a voice, there's a tone that Japanese people have that I freaking think is great. Where it's like it's this like, あ、そうですね。私はそう思うんですけど、声の質がちょっと変わっていくんですよ。And I don't do that, and I don't have that because my voice has this. Not a bass, but like a round sound that I don't have the sharpness of a Japanese voice. Matt does it. Dogen does it. I don't got it. Unless I really fucking fake it, and I don't want to fake it.
You know, I like your
George,
Yakuza
really
voice.
Go ahead.
I said I like your Yakuza voice. The rolling the R's, the Yaro kind of voice. that one cracks me up.
Is there nobody in the house there? Because
yeah. George, your house.
Fire alarm, man. You're taking the joke to a whole new level.
Oh, no, they all went outside, and I think the fire guys, they came in already and put the fire out. My wife was cooking some gyoza downstairs.
That's a way to interrupt the conversation. Oh, guys, the fire guy just wants to say
Listen,
something.
guys, I'm enjoying your conversation, but I'm bleeding out of my anus right now, and I really need to get this fixed.
No, George, one thing I really wanted to bring up is that kind of on par with this conversation.
Sure.
Do you remember the first video, like the 4th of July conversation, like the egg conversation you had with Arisa?
I do, actually.
So would you say that she stands apart as someone who, despite being from at least half a Japanese family, is someone that you wouldn't identify as a native speaker? If you kind of understand my drift, I'm not saying that.
The question is she a native speaker? Because
I guess
she's
my
half
point
Japanese.
True. She speaks Japanese like an American teenager.
Jack. So your question is she a native speaker even though she's half Japanese?
No.
No. It's specific because Arisa hates Japanese, and she doesn't. Arisa never uses Japanese to be impressive. She actually rebels against speaking Japanese. So, it's hard for me to answer that question honestly because I see Arisa speaking Japanese every day, and even me and her will speak Japanese when we're outside to keep things secret. And Arisa's Japanese is fine. It's not as good as Mari's. Mari's is maybe 20-30% easily better than Arisa's, but Arisa's Japanese has improved now that she's not forced to learn it in school. Her mother does not speak English. So she's forced to speak it. So is Arisa the best? No, certainly not. Does she not know some things that she should know? Certainly. Like she can't remember basic things. Well, Mari's. I actually look. I'll go on the level. I'll say Mari's probably got better Japanese than me.
Does she enjoy it?
She does now when she's figured out how to make money with it.
But I guess the point is you don't try to sound like you don't try to get that native sounding like it's air about you. Arisa speaks Japanese, but she doesn't try to be like she doesn't try to be anything other than what she is. She is.
It's funny because that's actually
raised girl.
That video is actually my most watched video, by the way, on this channel. Here, let's
think it was because it was.
Hello and welcome to Polyglot George. Today I'm here with my special guest, who happens to be my bilingual daughter, Arisa.
And a lot of people were like, Arisa's not bilingual. She didn't know things, you know. She didn't know things, so she's not bilingual. People were shitting on her pretty hard and it hit her hard. Let's see what she says here.
It's in Japanese, actually. I don't usually go to Japanese when I want to say something, because I always get plugged up and I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to say in Japanese. I have to think about it. So, yeah, I'm more like 100% in English.
So, so when you watch Japanese anime, do you read the subtitles?
No.
So you don't need subtitles to watch. You can understand Japanese basically 100%.
I usually guess if I don't know, and I assume that I'm right, and then it makes the story different, but it's okay.
Okay, so it makes the story different, and then does Mari correct you?
No.
Do you think Mari knows more Japanese than you?
Yes.
Mari's her older sister. Mari is how old?
17.
17. Now, the difference between you...
Now, this is 3 years ago, and I would say that Arisa's Japanese has improved a lot. Just because there's no pressure of Japanese school. You only have to go to Japanese school until 9th grade when you're here in the United States doing it. It's better, but she'll run circles out of literally everyone in this room. No one can talk better Japanese than Arisa in this room, and that's me not even knowing your levels, because she's definitely grown up with it her whole life. She's got 17 years on you guys. You know what I'm saying?
But no, I will say that's so fucking true, because one of my friends here in Colorado, and this is like an added challenge when I'm trying to talk with.
See, if you would have just kept going from there, one of my friends in Colorado, and then kept talking, but you keep doing these. Well, and this is an added challenge. It's too much fucking information. Okay. Fucking keep going.
My friend's mom is from Osaka.
My friend in Colorado said,
and her sister almost exclusively speak English to their mother, but everything that their mother says in Japanese they understand.
That's exactly how my daughters are too.
Everything that their mother said, like I'm trying to like parse out what their mother is saying, because that's one of my sources to learn Japanese. So like I'm lost, whereas they may not speak Japanese at all to their mother, but you know, they still understand everything.
Yeah, and Arisa commonly speaks English to her mother, whereas Mari does not. And the problem with Arisa's Japanese is not as good because of Mari. Because Mari, we only spoke to Japanese when she was a baby. But when she went to preschool, for example, Mark, your son Stefan, he's 3, and he's going to preschool now. When Mari went to preschool, she spoke no English. But within a few short months, she was speaking English. But the problem is when Mari was 4 and we had Arisa and Mari were speaking English to each other. So we didn't get the ability to put Arisa only through Japanese. And that's why Arisa's English developed much sooner than Mari's. And her Japanese was detrimental. Matter of fact, Arisa was late language-wise completely. Logically, Arisa was late in a lot of things. She's a calculus math whiz at this point, but everything about Arisa was slightly delayed in the beginning, I think, because the language really, she didn't know where to go, Japanese or English. She was too mixed up. I guess I didn't say anything that warranted comment.
Cool story, bro.
No, it's kind of everything's been said so far.
One of the things I noticed with my friends who grew up in a house, my buddy across the street, he grew up in a Spanish-speaking house, so he only heard Spanish for the first 5 years of his life, and then when he went out to kindergarten, he kind of had to figure out English at the same time as learning like everything else a 5-year-old needs to learn in life. So it's always interesting that like but now if you hear him speak in English, he speaks like perfect English, and like you confuse him for like someone who spoke English his whole life, and his Spanish it's weird. His Spanish is apparently I don't know this guy. I don't speak Spanish, but his dad corrects him all the time and says, "Oh, you said that wrong," or "You said this wrong." So
I always say this, like if you come to America and you're worried about your kids speaking English, that's really not an informed decision, because not learning English in America, if you're a kid, is like trying to keep a paper towel wet in the middle of the ocean. I mean, dry in the middle of the ocean. It's not going to happen. You're gonna learn it no matter what.
Yeah.
So George, was that your thought process behind only speaking Japanese with your first daughter? Then?
Yes, because I had seen Japanese children. I've met children and older adults. Their parents were so worried about them speaking English because they have a complex that they can't speak English, that they only spoke English for their children and didn't teach them Japanese or Chinese or whatever. And when they get older, it's the most common thing I see is regret on the child that they didn't learn their native, their half whatever. Either they're a third generation Japanese or Chinese and they don't know Chinese, and it's embarrassing for them. And English is going to come no matter what. The parents don't need to worry about that.
Yeah.
It's the other language. And by the way, if we lived in Japan, I would have only spoken English to them. It would have been the other way around.
One of the largest motivators, especially for children to learn a language, is peer pressure.
Sure.
Did you know that?
Have you guys seen the channel Kate and Audrey? They're Japanese girls. No. They're half Japanese, half Australian, and they live in Japan. And they have this mixed English and Japanese when they speak. And I'm almost certain their father must exclusively speak to them in English so that they can get English in Japan. They're amazing, by the way. They play guitar.
If I were to raise kids like in like like Japanese children or half Japanese children in America, definitely I think I would take your approach where it was just teach them Japanese and then they'll learn English because they're there. But if I was in Japan, I think that makes sense to teach them English because it's going to be harder for them to find English out in the world of Japan.
Yeah,
So,
I agree.
Yeah, it makes 100%. Yeah, and I'm thinking with like, what separates like someone who's an adult who is not fluent, that just moved to a country and doesn't gain fluency the same way as children?
Well, my wife doesn't speak English and she's been here 20 years. And I'll tell you the key thing is a desire to do it. My wife does not have any desire to learn English, and also has no need. The English that she's learned is purely based on the need that she has, not because she wants to. And I knew that when I married her. She was 31 when I married her. So I had no weird expectations. She actually didn't like English in school. Little did she know she was going to marry an American, but luckily that American spoke Japanese.
That comes in handy for sure. So did she, if you go to like a restaurant, does she have to order through you? Or
okay, so this happens quite a lot. Her accent is so atrocious. She'll be like, I take a burrito. And then the waiter always looks over to me to get clarification. It's really sad.
Oh my god.
She's better than I make it out.
You're on your own, dude. You're on your own.
I try to let her speak, but it's just like the other thing too is she needs to speak louder and she doesn't, and she's trying to sound natural. But I take a burrito. It's like it's just kind of not the right tone you need. You know, pitch accent is important.
when my pitch accent, you gotta get the pitch accent down or they don't want to understand burrito. When my girlfriend first came to America, she was there's no pictures. There
on the restaurant menus. Yeah.
At the menus, there's no pictures on the menus. So if you want to point to the picture of a burrito, it's not there. So you'll have to know how to spell burrito, so it's harder to order. But like when I went to Japan for the first time, it was there was pictures, so I could get away with not speaking any Japanese. I could be like, I want this weird sushi thing right here. I don't know what it is, but I want
the worst are those. The worst menus in America are those restaurants that give stupid names to everything. We have the Astro Blaster Burger. Like what's an Astro Blaster?
You'll know tomorrow.
Guiltless chicken. Nice one, Mark.
The Astro Blaster.
I have funny stories with my girlfriend, like with those types of menus. She's like, "What's the Roundhouse Burger?" It's like, I don't even know. You know.
True. What is that?
I think it's is it based off that movie Round? No, what's that house?
Well, there's also there's Roundhouse Chili, so I wonder if it's a type of chili burger.
Oh yeah, maybe that's what it is. Yeah, it's at a local restaurant. They have like the Sawmill Burger, the Roundhouse Burger,
the A1 peppercorn.
They have a bunch of. Yeah,
I'll take the anus burger. Oh no, honey, there's a G in there. That's not silent.
the real
red anus burger.
100% anus beef burger.
Roundhouse Burger. Patrick Swayze comes back from the dead and kicks you in the face, and then gives you.
That's a good burger.
We don't talk about that burger.
Yeah. That's on the secret menu.
Is it really a secret menu if everyone knows you can animalize your fries at In-N-Out? I'm just saying.
Oh, at In-N-Out, I actually worked at In-N-Out, and it's so funny because like I used to try to teach people off the street. It's like, did you know that we have cheese fries on the menu? And they're like, yeah, everyone knows that.
Everyone knows it. It's just not on the menu, but we know it.
Yeah, it sucks. Yeah, because you're like, but there's some things like people don't know is that you can get a grilled cheese. Maybe you all know this. Maybe you're all gonna be like, whatever. But you can actually ask for a grilled cheese.
That sounds nice.
It's essentially a cheeseburger. Yeah, it's a cheeseburger without meat. And then you can get speaking of funny names of foods on menus, or in this case, not on the menu, but there's a Flying Dutchman, which is essentially just 2 meat patties and 2 cheese.
You know, there's a thing that I learned on the internet somewhere, and I do it all the time at McDonald's now. I'll get like one of the bacon egg McMuffins or even a McGriddle, and you know how they have the folded egg?
Yeah.
You can say, I want to substitute for a round egg, and they'll give you a real egg instead of that stupid plastic folded egg one. And it's so much better. So you say, I'll take a number 6, which is the McGriddle meal, by the way, bacon. Also take a number 6 with a folded egg, and it'll show up on the screen, folded egg. Without a folded egg, sorry, with a round egg substitution.
Yeah.
I do that all the time at McDonald's. It really has improved I'm going to probably have to go there after this live stream.
So they actually, they're withholding their actual eggs and giving you the crappy fake plastic eggs.
It's like a scrambled egg folded. They call it the folded egg, and it's not good at all. It's like a powdered egg. Yeah. It's not that good.
Yeah. So they hide. You have to especially ask for the good egg, and they won't give you it unless you ask for it. That's
really what it is.
I guess that's just a McDonald's thing. It's
a very smart financial decision.
Ask and you shall receive.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's so fun. I didn't know that.
What'd you say, Jack?
I'll probably have to go buy.
No, I wonder if the folded egg takes more effort, scrambled.
No, I don't think so. I think it's easier to do that because it actually. I end up having to wait a little bit every now and then for that folded egg one. I mean, for the non-folded egg.
Can you bring your own egg, by the way? Can you bring your own egg?
Only on Bring Your Own Egg Day, which is normally March 3rd.
I brought a goose egg. Can you replace it with this goose egg? That'd be hilarious.
I'd like an Egg McMuffin, but I would like 2 burger patties on there with cheese, mustard, and ketchup and pickles. Sir, that's a double cheeseburger. Oh.
But people try it. I worked at McDonald's when I was 15. People try it. Can I get...
At In-N-Out, we would get people who are like, so on a typical burger, it would come lettuce, tomato, spread, and an onion. We would have, I want a double with no lettuce, no spread, no tomato, no onion. And so you're like, so you want it plain? And they're like, oh, and no bun. And they were serious.
Yeah. That's like, people with gluten allergies. We had
that's
people.
True. Yeah,
maybe you know this story as well. People who order a cheeseburger without the cheese.
Oh yeah, that was like the daily thing was where it's like cheeseburger no cheese. It's like
okay, sure.
Do you want cheese on that?
There's a sandwich at McDonald's. So they have the double cheeseburger. Then they've got one that is I can't remember the name of it. It's like the Mac or something like that. It's literally a double cheeseburger but with one less slice of cheese. But they give it a whole different name.
That's weird.
I can't remember what it's called.
And you pay more?
I don't think you pay more. You might though theoretically because the double cheeseburger is often on the dollar menu. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
It's the Big Mac. It has the different sauce spread.
Not the Big Mac. There's damn it. I know I gotta look at the McDonald's menu.
It would be cool if they took that cheese, that extra cheese that was left over, and just put it on your fries. That way you could have a Big Mac with one less slice of cheese and a cheese fry.
Okay, now I need to get my notes here.
I think it's just called a double. McDonald's menu.
I'm thinking back to these restaurants that utilize very clever names for their burgers and whether or not ESL speakers would not be able to understand what they were ordering.
Well,
I used to work at a burger.
That was my girl.
See, you could have started with I used to work at a burger place. I'm just trying to help you out, Jack. Because already someone jumped in because they didn't know you were leading somewhere. Am I right? Is it just me?
That happened. I
used to work at a burger place that had funny names for their burgers.
For example,
let's look over some of them.
Like
Tatoeba. Did I just say Tatoeba every time I want to say something?
Tatoeba.
AG.
It's the McDouble. Sorry, it's the McDouble.
McDouble.
It's literally the same as a double.
For example.
Yes.
Guacapotle. What would you think that was going on?
That's pepper
Something
sauce,
with avocado.
Pepper sauce chicken with guacamole.
And Chipotle?
Chipotle aioli. So, pepper sauce, mayonnaise, cheddar cheese, and homemade guacamole.
Sounds good to me.
What about the scorpion?
That is a very hot sandwich with hot sauce on it.
Burger.
Scorpion pepper, black pepper.
But does or does it not use scorpion meat?
Of course, it doesn't use scorpion meat.
No.
How do you know?
Because in America we don't eat scorpion. We're not Chinese. Come on.
Fried scorpion.
Making me hungry.
Yeah, I was gonna say
this would be easier for Japanese. The Wagyu burger. I didn't know they had this. They didn't have it when I.
You know, this reminds me of the.
It still has a wagging tail.
have you guys heard the Japanese commercial? It goes like this. It goes like this. I'm rubbing it.
Is that McDonald's?
I'm not even lying.
I saw the.
I don't have a girlfriend,
go
so
there.
I'm rubbing it every night. What about?
That was the. I was listening to the one of the openings of Full Metal Alchemist, and the song's called "Golden Time Lover," but a lot of mistranslations are calling it "Golden Time Rubber." That just sounds like a new product by Trojan. So I was like, "Oh, Golden Time Rubber."
Here, check this out. Check this out, guys.
I think my joke is
song, very good song.
Hang on, check this out. I think this might be the clip I want to hear.
I'm not sure what we're hearing.
Hang on.
マクドナルド50周年アニバーサリー第4弾マックシェイク100円
I mean, thank you. Thank you for rubbing it for me. I appreciate it.
What is she
Supersize
doing
me,
with her
please.
hand?
I ran into a situation on Hello Talk recently.
Oh, did you? Someone was rubbing you?
No. Like
Long time.
someone.
I didn't know they
someone was
added
trying to
that.
Pronounce a lot of the
Oh my
R's
God.
in English.
Right.
And
It's
she
on
asked
the
for my
secret
feedback.
menu.
I rub you wrong time.
The only hint I could give her to pronounce the R right in English is instead of putting your tongue to the roof of your mouth, put it in the middle position to help out with the English.
So you mean I got to do blowjob? I understand. I was in Taiwan. Oh no, I was in China. I was in Beijing, and the shirts there for Beijing all say "I love BJ." so I bought the "I love BJ" shirt, and I come out of the hotel. I'm walking into the hotel lobby, and the two cute girls at the front desk are like, "Oh, you very nice shirt." I'm like, "Can I explain to you what it really means?" And so I kind of regret doing it because I realized there's no porn in China, so they're very like naive, and they probably didn't even know that you would do that thing with a penis. So I'm like, yeah, so you guys know what a blowjob is? And they're like, a type of work? No, it's a thing of, and I literally explained a blowjob, and I said, that's why I'm wearing the shirt, because it's kind of funny. And their faces were red. They were completely shocked, and I don't think they appreciated what I did.
And now you're never allowed to enter China again.
Yes,
Yeah.
I've been banned.
Social points, man.
And that's why Winnie the Pooh has been banned in China.
You lost your social credits.
Who?
You didn't know Winnie the Pooh has been banned on all of the internet in China?
No, it's
because he looks like
people
the
have been-
leader.
Because he looks
right?
like the leader, and
The
he
leader.
didn't like the meme of him looking like Winnie the Pooh, so he banned. Yeah, he banned Winnie the Pooh.
Oh my god!
I thought it was gonna be because it sounds like poo poo. Like
No.
Yeah. No,
They're
your,
like, how
your connection
offensive.
didn't make sense though.
They don't do porn in China.
Even in Korea, if you go to Korea and you try to go to any porn website, a government filter will pop up and explain to you that porn is not allowed.
So what did people do?
Well, they're really it's funny because they're kind of naive about the whole, like there was these three girls that I was eating dinner with. I met them at a meetup and we were eating dinner, and they were all really cute, and I was like, it's weird, we started talking about sexual things, and they said, we really don't know a lot about sexual things. And I said, don't worry, just come to my apartment and I'll teach you all about it. And they're like, no, check it out. They went, oh, really? Thank you so much. And I was like, you don't get the joke that you're supposed to know that I'm screwing with you. Yeah, they didn't get the joke. I also did not let them come to my apartment.
The irony
too
is
tempting.
not lost when all of K-pop is basically they're so conservative, and yet all of K-pop is let's
dude,
watch underage girls dance like prostitutes.
Well, they're not underage pretty much in those videos. They're all pretty. They're actually mostly older. But I'll say this.
But they look like underage.
They do.
girls,
Yeah.
though.
Yeah, they do. When I went to Korea the first time, I really thought it was going to be everyone's super sexy, but they're not. But they do. Now let me say this. They do wear extremely in the summer. Oh my God, do they dress sexy? They wear these white shirts that are very like see-through, and then they have black bras on. Oh, it's amazing. And then they wear these shorts that are so short that the pockets are pulling, coming out from underneath. And they love black stockings. I'm sorry. Hey, I gotta book a ticket. Give me a second. I really.
Oh,
Korea's amazing.
Chat, do with.
I have to learn more Korean. I just
do
know
with this situation what you would.
They do porn in China. No, they don't, James. They don't allow porn on Chinese internet, James. Trust me.
How about videos?
And
like you can go to a video store, buy a porn.
That
video?
I don't know. Honestly, that I don't know.
They import from Japan.
Yeah, Japan is the.
Well, Japan is the standard for porn in Asia.
I'm okay with that.
I like how nonchalant it is.
Did you have more to say on that?
Oh no! I was just saying, like, at like. I'm sorry if I interrupted someone.
No, I was waiting.
You cut out. You cut out.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Oh, yeah. I was saying, it's like when you go to like the manga store, you like there's a specific sections. Not just like there's the yuri and the yaoi, so it's like they embrace it, which is kind of interesting. Someone was talking about that that kind of helps the culture to be less perverted, ironically, where it's like since it's kind of more in your face, people are more respectful in like the daily life.
I mean, you can like in even like a sports magazine that has the scores and game information. In the very middle, there's a girl completely nude. You know, it's the nude section of the sports magazine, and it's just on the train randomly. Some guys looking at it. It's not a big deal. Like I frequently, when I'm with Mike, my video editor, I'll pop out like a picture of a hot girl and just point. I'll say, "Did you see this one yet?" And he's like, "Oh my god, we are out." What? Why are you okay doing that? I'm like, because why does it matter? It's just a girl, and normally they're actually in bathing suits. They're not even nude. I'm not showing a nude girl, but he thinks everyone's looking at us and paying attention. I don't think they are.
Well, they'll look at the picture.
Yeah.
If you hold it up.
Well, attention, everybody here at the Panda Express. I just want to show you what I'm showing to my friend Mike here. This is a girl from the subreddit K-pop Fap.
You would be surprised probably if that happened. That people would say, "Oh, looks nice."
Yeah, check it out. That's actually, I'm pretty sure that is the actual name.
K-pop Fap.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them. Did you go to it? There's also, I can't remember the name. There's like, it's something like K-pop Fap Help or something like that. Like, it's videos and pictures of K-poppers to help you fap. Basically, is what that whole subreddit is. K-pop Fap.
I'm not going to name any.
I'm going to find it right here. Here it is. Yeah, it's literally reddit.com/r K-pop Fap. And I am subscribed.
Don't even know what fapping is.
You don't know what fapping is?
I don't know what
I do. There are many people who
sounds like.
Hey, come to my hotel room and I can show you.
Oh, really? Thank you.
Yeah.
Wow.
No.
So here's I'm playing a K-pop Fap right now. Here it is. This is a typical on the stream. It's just K-pop.
It's Momoland.
Yeah, it's literally just girls dancing. How you could fap to this? That was it.
Everybody has a kink.
I mean, they are kind of cute though. Oh man, yeah. Okay, oh my, hang on, guys.
So, if you were in China, would that be illegal?
I don't.
That kind of video you're allowed to watch. Yeah, that video is okay to watch in China.
Well, believe it or not, K-pop I think was actually itself made illegal at one point. Whenever China has like disagreements, they just start banning stuff.
That sucks.
Is it illegal to watch, or is it only illegal to distribute porn?
I think that's a good question. I think if you had it, you would be. I don't know about China. I know in Korea, I was at a one of those like an anime convention, but it was more like a bunch of artists that do doujinshi type stuff, where they're like it's fan art of like famous things like League of Legends and stuff like that. And I made friends with this group of guys through an intermediate friend, and they had like brown paper bags with hentai manga in them, and they would like pull them out like really slow and look around. Joji, look what I got, and and then they put it back in really quick, you know, because you're not supposed to have that. You're not allowed to have that. Yeah,
something school kids do.
And I happen to have
exchange porn.
I happen to have a Japanese girl with me, And Japanese girls can be just normally compared to, conservative Koreans are very perverted. I know you probably don't know that, but she would make a joke about touching her breast or something like that, and they would just lose it. Like they're like, "What?" She's like, "Oh, I'm real though. Do you want to touch me?" And she would make a joke like that. She didn't really mean it, but she's just being typical open Japanese person. You know what I mean?
I saw James in the chat. He talked about
how you cut out again.
Oh, I'm always worried. Is it my internet or?
No, it's Otter.
Otter, your internet, man.
Oh, I'm
Please
sorry.
Start over.
Oh, it wasn't me that time. I wasn't talking.
It was Con. I don't know.
No.
James was saying that the most famous star in China is Sora Aoi.
Hey, I know there's one.
Hang on, someone's not connecting properly, I think. Is that you, Otter? You back on?
Yeah.
You got mail.
You got mail. Oh, you stole my idea.
Whoa. Dude, how are the 90s?
Oh my god. Hey.
Trade Center been bombed yet?
Let's talk about let's talk about Sora Aoi just for a second. She's probably dead now.
Turn down the video a bit.
Yes. She's probably dead now.
She's a legit movie star now.
Okay, well I'm not even gonna look. She's one of the very first Japanese porn that I downloaded from the internet. She is so pretty, like in her old porn clips. So I understand it. I would show you. I understand. There was this one that I used to just watch over and over again because you know how hard it was to get porn back then. You had to go to like the news groups.
How hard was it, George?
It was so hard. It was more like this. It was like, come on. I need Raw Part 32 before I can unstitch this thing. Remember news groups?
One picture.
Remember news groups?
News groups, yeah.
I used to have this program called Dog Rover, and it would I would give it like key terms. It would go and find those kind of videos, and for like weeks you'd be trying to get like part 122 of this one raw split up video. Remember those days?
I
used to get them off
Kazaa. I didn't do that.
Kazaa, LimeWire.
Oh, LimeWire. I was the LimeWire king. I was all about that program.
Back in the day.
And Napster.
Napster.
That was the good one. I downloaded so many so many Disney songs off of Napster.
I can show you the world, shining, shimmering, over, under, and something on a magic carpet ride. I she said,
This is
what would it be? Don't close your eyes. Is that the next line?
目を閉じるなよ.
Actually, it's funny. Actually, watching Disney movies with Japanese subtitles and Japanese audio on,
it's amazing.
Definitely is pretty.
You know what I watched the other day? I watched Totoro in Korean. It was fantastic.
Oh, cool. Did they? In America, when they dubbed that movie, they got like two siblings to play the siblings. Did they do the same thing?
Oh, really? Was it good? Because I really thought the Korean dub was amazing.
I've seen both Japanese and English dub. And the English dub has Dakota Fanning and Elle Fanning as the sisters.
May.
And then the May and May and Satsuki. I forgot her name. I always said it wrong. I always used to say Sasuke because I was thinking Naruto, but that's not her name. I don't think it's like Satsuki. But
I think
anyways,
I think you're right. I think it's Satsuki.
Satsuki, yeah. So, yeah, I just thought it was a cool idea to cast siblings as characters that were siblings. And I was wondering, that would be cool if the Korean did that.
You know what? I met the lady that sang the theme song.
Oh, the.
She also did the Mononoke, and she is so weird. I was at the Tokyo Asia Music Fair, and it's called TAM, and the government invited me because I was with Japan Files. They invite a bunch of like foreign distributors, and we were a distributor. They pay your way and everything. It's fantastic. And I think her last name is Abe, And she is so weird. She's like, I'm the one that's saying that. And she's like, so only about that, you know? That's all. And she's, do you want me to sign this for you? I'm like, I didn't even ask, but sure, I guess. And she
really,
yeah, she's so weird. Like I literally did not want to stay and talk to her because she was just so. That's all she's ever done in her life, accomplishment wise. I feel so it was important to her. It'd be like me meeting you and going, hey, I have this book, Japanese from Zero. Do you want me to sign it for you and I can give you a copy?
I'd actually be down. I mean, I want to teach my friend Japanese, and I don't want to share my copy. But no, I totally get you. Hello? Watch, that 2 seconds is going to get claimed by Ghibli Studios, and this entire 4-hour video will be completely knocked off of monetization. No, Totoro! Seriously, that is my favorite Japanese animation. It's great. It's beautiful. I love how like simple that movie is. It's. I think. Oh, sorry. What are you saying?
No, I love that the mom doesn't die at the end.
Oh, thank God. Yeah, I would.
Yeah, man, you keep cutting out.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's my crappy ass headphones. I'm gonna switch. Real quick.
Cool.
All right.
I'm not sure if it's the headphones.
It's my dial-up. I'm sorry.
I feel like 3 hours is a long enough time to talk. Don't you guys think?
That was fun.
I actually enjoyed it. This was kind of nice.
Yeah, I definitely like the when you do the kind of like chill talks on your Polyglot George channels. Those are really fun to listen to, especially like if you're like what you're saying is like, you know, when you have those bad days at learning a language and you're just like, sick, it's not worth it. And it's just nice to hear like that you're not alone with language struggle. It's like everyone's experienced this. It feels good.
It's true. I mean, honestly, I think that's what, going back to our earlier topic, that's what I got out of learning Korean, was remembering the struggle. I always knew the hard parts of learning Japanese, but I'd really forgotten the struggle and how frustrating it is. That's when you started seeing me saying things like learning a language is dirty and it doesn't feel good and it's stressful and you're going to cry and you're going to hate it. But then all of a sudden one day you're going to have moments where you speak it, and those are the moments that you're learning the language for. You're not learning it for this stupid overall goal of, I want to be fluent in Japanese so I can understand anime. I mean, that's a fun goal, but to get there takes so much time. You're really just looking for a certain key moment where someone says something to you and you understand it without struggling.
Yeah, it's weird because like my goal when I first started learning Japanese was it's like, I want to learn how to understand anime without subtitles, but that goal is kind of,
that's like so hard. It's, you cut out again, Otter. It's really weird. In the middle of your thing, it's almost like you're like, well, the secret to life.
And that's how you solve cancer.
And I told her, listen, you piece of.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Am I cutting out again?
Yeah. I am in vain trying to find a sound for you that I can't. I don't have one. I have a sound for you. Go ahead. Say something, Otter. Oh, yep. Pretty good. Oh, yeah, definitely. I agree.
I'm trying to figure out the YouTube editor. How does this thing even work?
The YouTube editor, because you want to cut the first part off?
Yeah.
Try not to fuck it up, all right?
Yeah.
It's not too hard. You can't cut something out of the middle. You can only cut things off of the beginning. You just drag the slider over a little bit. There's a slider on it.
Yeah, I set it to the point where I need to make the cut.
But it'll take you it'll take like 4 hours or more for it to actually. It'll take all night.
Oh jeez. Oh, let's leave it here. Discard changes. I renamed our show a little bit, by the way.
Is it Mark Hates to Talk About Sex Robots?
Yes. Is it okay?
You went back to that, right?
Because it's my damn show. Yeah.
I saw it. No, I actually, that was my original title, and you said you changed it to something else, I thought. You remember I changed it during the after the podcast.
A few minutes ago, I opened it and it said Mark really hates sex robots, and I wanted to change it. Mark really hates to talk about it. By the way, next show I'll get back on it.
Really? You want to talk about sex robots in the next show?
I do.
No, wait, hang on now. I don't think we can because
I don't need to specifically talk about sex robots, but I will tell our audience that I realize I need to loosen up a little bit.
Okay, well, I think you can do that before we get into the overall topic of conspiracies, right? We were gonna.
Yes.
All right. Cool. Yeah, I like the idea of having the overarching. I think that's going to save the show. I mean, it's totally spiraling right now.
Yeah.
I'm joking. Right. It's only 4 shows in. It can't even possibly spiral any lower than it already is.
Okay. Funny joke. You had me.
You believed me?
No.
I do think the 4th show was not our best show. I think the 3rd so far is our best. But I think the 5th will be our best because we're both going to have an overarching topic that we both keep to, so that it never changes all of a sudden to something out of left field.
It will be the best one.
Yeah,
we're just gonna make.
If you guys are not subscribed to the Mark and George show, you're lucky, really lucky. Actually, you're missing out because
the chosen few.
Yeah, because me and Mark, we're really, frankly, we're the best podcast on earth, and I think that's what we need to start saying about our podcast. Welcome to the Mark and George show, the best podcast on earth.
We could, because Noah Jenna claims it to be the best podcast in the universe. So
Do they?
We won't step on there. Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that. Damn it. Now I feel like a poser.
Just say best podcast in the multiverse. You can't beat that.
Multiverse.
Yeah.
Ooh, in all dimensions.
Yeah.
How about that?
In all dimensions, all time.
Transcending podcast.
The best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. That's Hulk Hogan.
Well, we first need to live up to that promise before we actually call ourselves that. Yeah. Maybe after 50 shows.
Hang on. I think this is gonna pay off.
Welcome back, guys, with another video.
Whoa!
It's your boy, Masood, and your other boy, DeAndre. We will be talking about copyright infringement. Yay!
This is, by the way,
But this is actually serious. Listen.
This is the best podcast on earth. It's listed. He has 9 views, and I'm not even making this up. 0 subscribers.
Aww.
Can we all go
Also,
join
Chad,
this guy? This poor guy.
You have to.
I'm gonna subscribe to him right now.
It's Masood Osmani. Seriously, I'm subscribing just to do it. I'm the first one. Screw you all. None of you are the first subscriber. It's me. I'm gonna post it in the chat. Hang on, guys. Can we all join this? It's the best podcast on earth. You're not going to regret joining the Masood Osmani. Here's his last video. Oh my God, I'm not even making this up. A week ago, it has literally no views. It says no views. He didn't even watch it.
Are you feeling bored lately? Yeah. Do you want to watch a bunch of celebrities playing Overwatch and raising money for Sick Kids Hospital?
This guy's amazing.
Yeah.
He's gonna get a.
Most importantly, do you want to have fun?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, come on down to Scotiabank Arena, being held on March 29th, 2019.
I don't even know what's happening. Is that real? I'm the first view. Here, I'm going to give him a comment. Great stuff, man. Great stuff, man. I recommended you
to my peers,
your channel, to everyone on my stream. No, to all my friends. I don't want him to think I'm trying to promote. To all my friends.
You get a lot of subscribers.
Keep making videos. Cool. I said this as a joke to someone before, and they were so motivated. I was so happy. I mean, the reality is, even if you don't think it, if you're just nice to somebody, it really does make their day. I mean, this poor guy, he put something up 9 days ago, and he just got his first view. You know that sucks, man. Actually, you know what it is? I think this is actually. You know, I just realized this is like a school presentation. It's for ISU, it says. Damn it. His teacher didn't even watch it. Do you realize that?
Oh.
Okay, you guys suck. I'm still the only one subscribed.
Yeah, I'm doing the Mark and George show MP3 thing.
All right.
We are. I don't have Apple devices. Can somebody who has an Apple device check out if we are actually on iTunes?
You know, you can go to iTunes on the net. You could type Mark and George show iTunes.
And what happens when I do that?
And George show it should show a link online. I'm looking at it now.
Oops.
Not yet.
Eating some breakfast here.
Not yet. Let me. Where's my phone? Holy moly! Can someone to find my iPhone? The hell is
Alexa? Ring my phone.
You know, they used to have that option, and then they got rid of it. I think that was like the most brilliant option.
Yeah.
Alexa, find my iPhone.
Find My iPhone is an app and service provided by Apple Incorporated that allows remote location tracking of iOS devices, Mac computers, Apple Watch, and AirPods. Did that answer your question?
Absolutely not.
Thanks for your feedback.
Adios.
Okay, I don't know where my phone is, guys. This is a problem. Anyway, who cares? Who cares? There's still 30 people watching this stupid stream where we're not talking about fun, or we're not even making fun of Jack anymore. I think all of our viewers shouldn't be here anymore.
Jack, can you say something?
I don't think he's here anymore.
He's here.
Oh, he's here.
Oh wait, no, I hear him talking now. I agree. Otter, did you want to say something? I love how we all have sounds now. It's very nice.
Ooh, Jack left.
No, he didn't.
Darn.
Yeah, he did.
Did he just leave right now?
Yeah.
I think we pushed him too. I think we pushed him too far.
I was saying something really heartfelt, and then I was like, oh, it cut out. I was like, yeah, learning language is so fun when other people are there along with you, encouraging you. But all of it was just cricket sounds.
It kind of
I
sucks.
was like,
right?
I know, I got to get a better internet connection. I'm done with AOL and my modem.
Are you seriously using AOL?
No, I'm joking.
Oh.
I was just saying because I'm like a dinosaur. Like, could you imagine if I had like the dial-up like
just doesn't cover it anymore.
The AOL like those discs, those floppy discs they would send you in the mail back in the 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was like. Yeah, could you? Yeah, the CD-ROMs. That's right. Could you imagine if someone somewhere out there still had those? Like it's like, oh man, it's the fastest internet you can get.
I still have those somewhere.
Oh, you have those? Nice.
I do. Yeah, with the.
Do you have like?
We didn't have AOL here. We had a CompuServe in Holland.
That's so funny. It's funny because one of my friends was like, "Why don't they just, download the internet through the internet?" It's like because they didn't have the internet. You needed the disc.
Oh my god! I remember this news article. There was this news like show thing where they're like, in the future, updates to software will be done online. I'm like, whoa, really? And I remember thinking how stupid that sounded. Didn't realize how amazing that actually was going to be. And I remember not wanting to ever not own TV shows like DVDs and whatnot. I thought I would never want to pay for a streaming service or I would never want a subscription to a software. But now that's all I want. I don't want to have any other way to do it.
So if you see something that you really like, do you still buy like the Blu-ray version?
I know you do because you pirate it, right?
I do. No, never.
No?
Never. I deny everything. I deny everything. Flat out deny everything. Oh, hey.
I'm kind of going.
All right, hey.
Here's your answer. I don't know if you're watching the stream. This is your answer.
No, I'm not.
Back to the Future Blu-ray.
Ooh, nice.
Yes. But guess what? I couldn't find it the other day.
Scott.
I ended up buying it again. I bought it on Amazon, and then I realized I couldn't download it very easily, so then I had to buy it on iTunes so I could watch it on my iPad. Bought it like 3 times. Yeah, I love that movie.
Yeah.
I have it on VHS too.
I used to. Then I sold it to Amoeba.
Oh man. What?
Amoeba. There's a big
radio,
a big record store in LA.
Oh, okay. And so it's like it's in where I'm from. We had what was it? We had Warehouse. Do you guys know that one? Warehouse Records.
Oh yeah, they've been gone forever, dude.
Yeah, they struggled for a while, but then they finally went. They were like, you know how like there's 1 or 2 Blockbusters left in America.
Yeah.
That's kind of how it was in my town, where it's like they hung in there, but then they eventually, and now it's a mattress store.
Sad situation.
You know what's funny is that there's still Warehouse Records in Japan.
Oh, I saw that there's Tower Records also.
Oh wait, it's Tower Records, not Warehouse. I'm so sorry.
Oh, is it? Yeah. Oh no, it's good. Yeah, because I was.
Oh man.
Really?
Dun, dun, dun.
I think they're on to you. Every time you want to say something interesting, and
what? Are you just now back at the end of your story?
Seriously, we didn't hear you.
Mark,
I'm so sorry.
Sorry, Mark. We're not on. I could not find the Mark and George show at all on the podcast app.
On iTunes?
Yeah,
okay.
I couldn't find it.
I'll ask. Thanks. I'll ask Darren too.
It might take a little bit of time.
Yeah, he said that I would receive an email or something, so I'm still waiting on that. Email. Jesus.
Well, guys, I'm gonna go soon.
Got a dash.
I got to dash and dine.
I have to. I don't know. It's 9 a.m. here.
Yeah.
I gotta be to work in 2 hours.
Hang on, I think.
In 2 hours? Did you sleep?
No, I did not sleep. I'll be fine. I'm just driving.
Hang on, Mark wants to say. Not Mark. Jack wants to say one final thing to you.
Okay, Jack. Wow. Well, that's very
I agree.
Interesting.
That was very sweet. That's very sweet.
Yeah. Thanks, Jack. Likewise.
All right, guys. Well, listen, I appreciate it. This was a lot of fun. This ended up being a 3.5 hour thing. I was only going to be on here for an hour.
Hey, are you streaming 1080p or 4K?
I am streaming. I think I'm streaming Ultra HD.
Ultra density
which is
HD.
Which is right below 4K. Let me check. Okay. My output is. Oh no. I am for this Polyglot George. I am streaming complete 4K.
Okay.
Which is weird. I didn't realize I was doing that.
Did you have to change your key again? Your stream key?
I didn't. That's the first thing I checked. I think what happened is instead of hitting close, I hit change on Mark and George. There's the button's like right there to change it. I must have accidentally hit it.
I see.
When I was closing it or something like that.
Well, it's been fun.
Yep, it has been great. Anyone who stayed here, holy moly, type instant gobble in the... Yes.
That's me, sorry.
Type instant gobble. That's what you need to type. I'll show you right here. This is the comment I would like to see if you watched all the way to this far. Instant gobble into the comments. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. See you all on the next Unplanned Podcast, Episode 2. Bye.